That's fair.
Save the good
Okay,
stuff.
out of character, I do think it's still a good idea.
I think it's a
Crabby.
bad idea.
Why do you think it's a bad idea?
Because I'm his only heir, and I imagine he's not going to be happy if the people that are meant to be trying to keep me safe and I'm adventuring with nearly all died. I don't think it'll go well.
That is fair. Hello everybody and welcome to Crabby D&D. I am here with my players, Cat,
Hi.
Kirv, who's currently muted.
She said BRB.
Oh, okay. Vinny.
Hello.
And Romulus.
Hello.
We will be having a Mortar join us later on. He will be back home from work soonish, hopefully. But he's really playing his role-playing his character well at the moment, so you know it makes sense. And Kirv is here too now.
Hello.
All right. Shall we begin? Yes. I love your enthusiasm, everyone. So. Welcome, one and all. Glad to have you here. Now, shall we remind ourselves of where we were? Last session, our party of adventurers, Cat, Kirv, Mortar, Romulus, and Vinny, had overcome the challenge of saving Carvern, rescuing her from the ceiling and the clutches of whatever mysterious cult lay beneath the abandoned chapel, preventing her from taking further harm as they escaped as best they could. They were, however, in a tight spot, low on resources, low on health. The party had lost Mortar to the skeletal onslaught that had made itself known inside of the crypt, shall we say. With the fight versus the Herald of Husk only going so well, Kirv was required to call upon her patron, providing a swift exit for those who could escape that way, with Romulus and Cat escaping on their own terms using a dimension door. This, however, proved to be a rather explosive exit. With wild magic going off, both Cat and Romulus fell unconscious in the snow, holding hands in a sweet gesture as, well, they lived, but both of them could have died. The party, however, managed to gather themselves as best they could, getting back together, carrying Carvern in wrapped-up blankets, otherwise dragging Mortar over to Romulus, who, at this point, hefts Mortar over your shoulder. You otherwise hear the sounds of movement. You can otherwise hear the sound of what sounds to be like bones and metal on stone, from the interior of the chapel, where you can only assume the undead are giving pursuit in some fashion or another, but are currently unaware of your location. So, what would you like to do?
Leave quietly and quickly.
Mm-hmm. In what direction, may I ask?
The correct one.
Yes, the one that
Away.
least enemies.
Yeah.
Or random encounters.
From where we are currently, that's south, and try and follow the road we were on.
Okay, so leading up the mountain. Good, that's why I titled the stream. So, with that being the case, I would like everybody to make me stealth checks, please.
Can I have advantage?
What? Why? Just 'cause?
Can I have advantage? Yeah.
No, afraid not.
Because I've got two legs that are just like really skinny bits of bone.
If we're going to use that logic,
Oh shit!
I was going to say, if we're going to use that logic, all the undead have skinny legs made of bone, so they can have advantage on their perceptions.
You leave like skeleton footprints, so like, no, one of us has already been this way.
Someone's gone this way.
But I don't have feet. It's just stubs. And are you sure you don't want to give me advantage?
Why? Was that a natural one? Yeah, it was.
Hide the chaos it maybe?
Harlan, you need to roll as well.
I don't know if
Harlan
I've got
needs one of those.
Tails back.
You don't have it available, but if you want to risk rolling on the wild magic table while everybody is grouped together.
Do I get it back because wild magic went off as we were leaving?
Yes, you would actually.
Oh, cool. Cards of Chaos.
But before this
Pardon me.
happens,
Well, that's not a
before
one.
this happens,
Go
could
on.
could I second wind?
Yes, that's quite alright.
I've got
And
wind.
You got a natural 20 on your stealth as well, by the way.
Yeah.
oh, thank you,
Nice.
Simon.
welcome.
Would you like to roll the d10?
Oh,
And
yes.
add 7. Okay. Yes, at the moment, Harlan is not able to make it to his computer, so we have a Romulus over the phone. Romulus over the sending stones.
Okay. Minimum on the
That was a 1 plus 7.
second wind, I'm afraid.
That was the first one.
Yep. Well, technically second.
Some thinking here, Simon.
So,
You rolled better, damn you.
Look, I gave you a better stealth check than I got.
That is worrying.
that's fair as well. Okay, so Romulus got a natural 20 for a total of lots.
Yes.
Cat, you got a
3 to get a total of 6.
for a total of 6. Okay, that will be a fail. Vinny,
16.
okay, and Kirv,
17.
17. Okay, nearly on a knife's edge here. With Romulus carrying Mortar, being extra careful not to cause any issues, with Vinny carrying Carvern as best you can, you're a little bit slow on the leaving this place, but you take care to be quiet, heading out of the southern exit. You travel along the road as best you can as to leave minimal footprints in the fresh snow, and scuff where need be to otherwise mark as much of your tracks as you can. You begin heading towards the mountain's edge, the wind picking up and blowing past. You can feel the cold as it's beginning to bite into you. And there are moments of hesitation as you're periodically looking back to see if you have been spotted. But thankfully, it seems like you haven't. As you continue on, what's the marching order here? Heading up the mountain. Single file. Now made it away from
Probably
this
be
man.
more towards the back.
So cat at the back.
I think I probably have. So I'm going to head to the front.
Okay. Vinny, Kirv, where would you like to be? Kirv there, Vinny there. Okay. And Mortar I will put there. So,
Cool.
as you're progressing up...
Romulus, while you're up... So, Romulus, while you're up ahead, the moment you spot a good place for a tiny hut, call it out.
I will. I assume, though, that would require the rolling of fate by some greater being. Perhaps calling it perception.
Or
What do you
survival.
think, Vinny? Or survival. Yes. What check would you like me to make for our traversing this?
I'd say survival or perception would be up to you here. Whichever one you would prefer to use. Perception will be probably a higher of the two DCs, just because you are dealing with obscured vision for the most part, whereas survival is more your general knack of, is this kind of ledge stable for us to set up sort of deal.
I think I will take survival. Partially because you've just said it has a lower DC, but on a second note, because obviously I grew up in these sorts of mountains.
Yeah.
It would make sense that this survival would be what I would be leaning on.
Yeah, the terrain isn't exactly the same because obviously it's snowy mountains as opposed to dry, wet mountains, but it's still a worthy note.
Very sim.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll me a survival check for Romulus, please. And then, after that, I would like everybody to make me your choice of strength or dexterity saving throw.
Oh, come on.
A +5 to whatever Simon just rolled.
So there's a
Plus 5 to
12
7,
on your
so
survival.
12.
It's 12. Looking around in this cold, you know from previously travelling up this pathway, there weren't really any good spots to stop at along the path, with the exception of an old abandoned campsite which you found and stayed at last time, but it is directly on the path. You unfortunately are not sure of a good place to potentially camp nearby. And dexterity or strength saving throws, please, for those who haven't already rolled.
That's a dex
+9
save
strength.
of. Okay, yeah, dex save 12, unfortunately, and.
Romulus is getting advantage on dex.
Oh, no,
Well.
sorry, it wasn't advantage on dex. Well,
They're the same.
Either
level
way,
as
it's
strength.
the same roll.
Doesn't matter. Sorry,
Well, they're
I was
not-
preparing it for me.
They're not ones.
I got an 8 on
Say
dexterity.
2s.
They are twos. So we'll go with strength, as you said. So that is a total of what? 2 plus
+9, so 11.
11. Okay.
Not bad considering.
Yeah, not bad considering. Vinny,
12.
12. Kirv.
8 on dex.
Okay,
Oh,
and Cat.
Well, it seems like my bone picks seem to be working out well for me. I've got 15 on dex.
Okay, Cat is the only one who passes this.
Oh,
We fly away.
No. Over the course of your journey up the staircase, there are times when you are finding that the wind is buffeting against you, times when the wind suddenly changes directions, pushing against one side of you, and you have to get a better grounding and footing. For Kirv, Vinny, and Romulus, over the course of this journey, you are slowed considerably as your footing is unable to kind of maintain itself on the slippery, kind of fresh snow and ice steps as you are climbing here. Cat, having 4 legs and her protruding leg,
baby.
yeah, her ice leg picks that she now has, is able to prevent herself from falling over. However, as a general note, Vinny, this will be a choice for you, and Romulus, this will be a choice for you. You can either, in this instance, you can take 1d4 regular damage as if you were falling over, but if you wish to preserve the person that you are carrying, I would ask that you'll take a d6 instead. But you get to choose whether you want to take the damage yourself, or whether you want, or whether you don't mind if the person you're carrying gets hurt as a result.
I am carrying a corpse, so
I
I do
was literally thinking the same
different.
thing.
This is
I
true.
mean, he ain't getting any deader.
No, this is true.
He might lose another leg though.
I will take the D6.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way I'm risking Carburn in this state. So
Okay.
No.
The
D6.
So, the two of you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage, as there are times when you slip and kind of knock yourself as you're trying to right yourself a bit more. It's not enough to do, or it's not doing any real significant damage to kill you necessarily, but it is slowing you down. Meanwhile, Kirv, you take 3 points of bludgeoning damage, as you are also climbing and find yourself being knocked at times by the weather and the unstable ground.
Mm-hmm.
Despite this, you do climb as best you can, trying to find a good place to stop. You do eventually reach what looks to be the campsite where you had previously stayed the day before. So you know that this is a good place to set up camp. You also know it is a very obvious place to camp. So if they were to potentially follow you, they would come straight across your path here.
Hmm. Can I look around the area and see if there's any way to potentially mask our presence if we were here?
I'll say this will be another survival or perception check in this instance.
I'll go survival again.
Okay.
Simon, if you please.
Mm-hmm.
It has a +5 to it.
13. You have a look around
We're
as best.
creeping up.
Yeah, creeping up. Looking around, this is, for the most part, a flat section of the mountain, some form of plateau that has formed or been carved, much like these steps of old. You don't see many in the way of nearby trees. You don't see like any sharp mountain edges that you can work with to kind of keep yourselves hidden. The best you could do is walk further, or whether that be up the stairs or perpendicular to them, in an attempt to try and find a good hiding spot. But as it currently stands, you can't seem to see anywhere that would be a particularly good hiding spot for a Lehman's tiny hut.
Simon. No, Simon. Shit. Character.
I don't know how long Carvern can survive the elements.
No, she's... I've bundled her up as best as I can, but we need to get her inside.
I'm not doing great myself. So, do we keep looking for somewhere? Or do we risk setting it up out in the open?
I think we've got to risk it.
Right.
In all of their... I don't know, but for all of the defenses they had, they never left any outside of this temple.
Mm.
We have to hope there's a reason for that.
Can I ask a quick question, Chris?
Go for it.
Has Filch gone back to normal form?
Filch disappeared.
Ah, okay. Apologies.
No, that's okay. You still have Eugene.
Because he'd be a great lookout.
What are you trying to say about Eugene?
Well, if Eugene sees something, what's he going to do?
Well,
But a giant, clawed... what was it called? A something thing?
Scarfin.
Scarfin, that was it, yeah. I wouldn't mind that with me while I was keeping an eye out.
For it also
Eugene.
kind of give away your position. A little bit.
Yeah, but having a CR-14 devil at your side wouldn't be bad either.
True.
But even still, I will take first watch. I'm okay with that because I'm not too bad health-wise.
okay, well... First things first, let's pick somewhere in this area as far off the path as we can. The hut's opaque from the outside, so I'll make it a white-grey colour. Try and match the snow as best as I can.
Okay.
I'll, once we've had a little bit of a rest, are we going to be going directly to sleep, or is there time for us to? Are we going to be doing other things in the meantime?
Well, that's up to you. If you want to go straight to sleep, I will allow it. I mean, it's close to nightish when you would be getting some rest anyway. But you have no more short rests to use.
Yeah. whilst it is being set up, then I'm going to try and build up some of the snow nearby to try and make us slightly less conspicuous. You know, like a ramp heading towards where the dome will be, in order to try and minimize its standing outedness.
Yeah. Okay. So I will say, Vinny, if you're okay rolling an investigation check for Romulus here.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, or I'll ask a logistics question here, Vinny. How far off the beaten path did you want to go? Did you want to go just 20 feet off? Did you want to go up a bit further? Did you want to go perpendicular for a bit to get further away from the path?
This is like a natural plateau, right?
Something similar to it, yeah.
This low visibility, if we go too far, there's no way of knowing. There might be some hidden danger. If we can get far enough that we're out of visibility from the path.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be fine.
So 20, 30 feet,
Yep, that sounds good.
if possible.
Okay. Good to know. So, and what did Romulus get on his investigation?
Oh, he rolled a 7.
I've got a +1, so 8.
Okay. Well, it's snow, so you otherwise cover up what you can around the area leading to the dome, but it's not perfect. But then again, it's not necessarily going to be perfect with this wind up.
Intention is just to make a not. If they glanced over, they might not notice. Is all I'm thinking.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. With that, you begin casting Tiny Hut. Yeah? There's nothing else anyone else wanted to do before that?
No.
No? Okay.
I think we're all
It has to be a
knackered.
ritual, so
Okay. You sit
it'll be a
down.
long casting so people can keep an eye out.
You sit down, dig a little bit into the snow to get a good platform. You draw out the ritual symbol and you begin casting. You finish the casting of the Learman's tiny hut, and as all of you are bathed in the welcome warmth of a comfortable temperature and atmosphere, the sound of the wind bustling the outside of the dome, snow beginning to build up on the exterior to a certain extent where it's now hitting this new surface, beginning to almost in its own way cover the corners and the edges of the well, not corners because it's a dome, but the edges of the dome. In this moment, Vinny, you do note that Carvern has been shivering this whole time. Where most of you have been shivering, and the temperature being cold and difficult has certainly set in, you're noticing it's far more visible for Carvern. You suspect that, given the situation, 3 winter blankets is doing the best that it can.
There's a heat stone in there somewhere.
Yes. So it is keeping her from going into a bad state, but shivering is still a natural response to extreme cold in this scenario.
Yeah. I prepared her as best as I could in the short time, and we've tried to get the hut set up as quick as possible, so I have to just hope that whatever state she's in is salvageable.
I'm afraid we must. Well, there's only one option to make sure that everyone warms up as safely and quickly as possible.
We're not all getting naked.
No, I was going to say we all have to bundle up into the same sleeping bag.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I will try. I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but let's go! I'm getting in.
I had
Okay.
Twilight flashbacks, I'm sorry.
I'm getting in big sleeping bag.
Beautiful one. Me, and there is a very reasonable part. It's quite reasonable to me that me and Kat actually probably do run quite warm in comparison to, humanoid baseline, given our fur and increased size.
I mean, to be fair, on that same line, Kirv is also from hell, so hot-blooded all the time.
Yes, this is also fun. Look, we're just going to get snuggly, and we're going to leave Mortar's corpse over there in the corner.
Oh
Yeah,
my
bearing
word.
in mind this is a Minotaur, a Dragonborn, and a Centaur. This is going to be an elastic fucking sleeping bag.
So, I will lie down first. Put Carvern on top of me, and I will act as a heated bed.
The outside of the sleeping bag.
I'll have my own sleeping roll. Now, I will put my arms out. Kirv and
Yeah.
Vinny. But one of you use either arm as a pillow, or place your proposed pillow on top of said arm. Snuggle up close in order to wedge Carvern and provide appropriate heating from the sides. Finally, Cat.
Crushes you all.
It's
It just pops you all like a grape.
lay your horse body at our feet, and where possible, rest your top half on Carvern's legs. This will ensure optimum heat retention for our current party composition.
Okay.
Any
Sounds incredibly
questions?
uncomfortable. And how is someone meant to do what? Oh, hang on, no, we've got this. Mortar, watch for us.
We're in the bubble!
Still.
yeah. Just quickly before we all go to sleep.
Ooh.
Oh, God. Fireworks are going off.
Vinny's partying.
Just before we all go to bed, Vinny starts partying and Mike stops working.
Gets party poppers out, some fireworks. There goes stealth guys.
The crackeries.
Yeah, we missed everything you said.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. My headset's being weird. Romulus, do you know anything about treating cold or these kinds of injuries?
I reckon I probably do. So, what
Okay,
role would
gonna-
that be, dear?
I'm gonna
Treating cold?
lay Carvern out and unwrap the blankets now that we're in the hut.
So did you say
And
treating cold?
Try and see
Yeah.
like any lasting effects from having been cold.
Ah, okay. So yeah, that will be a medicine check in this instance. It will be dealing with the frostbite.
Yeah.
Any chance I
okay,
could
I
have
will-
advantage based on the fact that, as we did establish in my backstory, when it was snowy in the forests, I did stay out for considerable periods of time.
I'll say
Either
not
way,
necessarily
I
for
will
the
be
medicine. I'll say that it's going to
assisting in
affect the
whatever way I
DC.
can.
So yeah, in which case
Valid.
then advantage if Vinny's going to be recalling what knowledge Vinny knows. So yeah, go for it. Roll it with advantage, and the DC will be lowered due to the circumstance.
That's good. Good.
Okay, you rolled
So-
an 18.
18
Plus
plus
1.
Plus 1. 19. You recall what you can about the cold. Most of it you've mentioned. Keeping warm, keeping a good body temperature, keeping warm fluids up like soup or hot water, anything like that can usually help. Making sure that your core temperature stays as warm as possible and keeping your extremities at a general good temperature if possible is best. If they start going blue or you lose circulation, then it's bad. You also know, from a mechanical standpoint, that frostbite is a cumulative effect, and over the course of time, it will build up. In this instance, Carvern has disadvantage on these checks for the most part, but she'll have a regular roll thanks to what Vinny has done, but she will still have to roll for the frostbite that she will be receiving as a result of now being outside. She wasn't cold necessarily when she was in the temple, as it was underground, so it retained quite a lot of its heat quite happily, but the exterior is now a bit less forgiving. So I'd say you know that treating it is everything that your party's already doing. But to truly help with getting rid of the cold entirely will require being in a sheltered location like a city or town for an extended period of time.
I also have heavy winter clothing, and for some reason I appear to have additional sets of it. So
One
will
was
be.
mine.
Yeah, I have 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
crikey.
you bought extra just in case, I believe was what you said.
And look at this, it's working. So 2 layers of heavy winter clothing.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
It
She
just
won't.
makes sense.
It will be one of those that she isn't able to walk by any means, so she can't keep her own body heat up in that same way. So the extra layers are definitely needed, but she'll still be making the con saves for the frostbite. But it won't be nearly as damning as it may have been previously, thanks to this, or thanks to the efforts you're all making.
Is there any benefit to... Well, now that the hut's up, we'd best go to sleep. In the morning, I will make a warming broth that is as spicy as I can make it to try and get the heat going.
Okay. In which case, I'll ask if there's anything people want to do before bed or sleep, let me know. Otherwise, who wants to take first watch? Remember, anybody with points of exhaustion cannot perform these. If anybody else should have
take
any.
a watch.
I'm happy to take first.
Okay, Kirv will take
And
first
then
watch.
somehow squirm my way back into this pile.
I'll take last watch on the very simple basis of I'm gonna be functionally useless until I've had a rest.
Okay, and then Kat, do you want to take second watch then? And Vinny, did you
Yeah,
want
I'll
to
take
join in on a
second.
particular watch?
I'll join in to help out. I'll probably share first, if that's alright. I'm less useful on watches because I can't leave the hut.
That's true.
Although if snow is building up, that's probably a good thing for hiding us. So
Yeah, good for stealth, bad for perception. So, as you settle down as best you can, Vinny and Kirv forming the hand pillows of this pile, you both take first watch, kind of sat there taking in or hearing the surrounding air just flowing past, the snow otherwise beginning to build up more and more. If both of you would be able to make perception checks for me, please.
So is that with disadvantage, or that's just
Because the snow hasn't built up to obscure too much yet, this will just be a regular roll. The DC will be increased if there is anything in the area, because they'll have bonuses to stealth because of heavily obscured, but the snow hasn't built up to provide disadvantage yet.
Seven.
Okay.
okay, you're fine. It's a 24.
24. Okay.
Ooh.
You're otherwise both sat in the dome, kind of keeping an eye out as best you can for anything that might be coming this way. You don't see any creatures at all during any of this time. But Vinny, as you're looking out, you can see what almost looks to be this kind of faint reddish glow that almost turns to this dark purple and dark blue before dissipating, which seems to form nearby, probably 10 feet away from the dome.
That's pretty close.
I'm sorry?
Pardon?
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes. There is what looks to be a red glow of some form of possibly magic or anything else, you're not sure. A red glow that slowly turns into into a purple and then dark blue before dissipating. Probably about 10 feet away from the dome.
Okay.
So relatively close. Is there anything you initially do? And Kirv, you don't see this, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. You seeing anything out there, Vinny?
Something glowing. It looks like magic, but I don't know what it is. If it's an attack, they missed. If they're looking for us, they're in the right area.
Well, there's not much we can do while we're in here, right?
Not really, no. If they're searching for us but haven't attacked yet, we should stay in here and hope for the best.
A good sleep will do all of us good.
I don't know much about those kinds of magic or what it could be, but I'll mention it to Cat when I wake her up.
How are you doing, by the way, Vinny? She doesn't look in a good shape at all.
She's alive. Focusing on that. We can bring Mortar back if, given what they are and what they do, if she died when she was with them, I don't know if that would have been possible. I don't know how we're going to get her to town, but we're going to have to manage somehow. As long as there's that hope, I don't have to give in yet. To be honest, a part of me is more worried about Cassius. I don't know what he's doing or what he's gotten himself involved in, but he wouldn't have turned on any of us if he didn't feel that he had to.
You care about a lot of people. It sounds exhausting. I mean, he did all of this. Why do you still care?
Because we were friends and we were partners for years. There's nothing that could justify this, but he didn't do it for no reason. He's difficult to dissuade once he sets his mind on something. But I've always thought he doesn't want to hurt people and cares about us. He was that way for years, and then I lose less than a year of time, and suddenly he seems completely different. Something big happened to me. I didn't always have that thing in my head. Maybe it happened to him as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making excuses for him.
One problem at a time, I'd say. You've already got her to look after right now. She's your priority.
Yeah, I agree.
You can only save the people who want to be saved.
Maybe that's true. No. Thank you, Kirv. Are you doing okay?
Well, I didn't enjoy having to call on my patron for help, and I reckon he's going to hold that against me. But it was pretty cool.
Well, the way I see it, he helped all of us, so if you need help paying him back.
Well, he got what he wanted, the artifact. He just happened to help the rest of us on the way.
True.
Don't worry
I'm
about
not that,
me.
by the way.
Sorry, I'm just seeing the notifications
Yeah.
of what's going on in chat. Pillow talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
What can I say? Minotaur pillows really put people in the mood.
Oh no.
Chris, I've got to milk this for all it's worth.
Oh God!
No wonder you're one of 20 siblings.
Oh.
So, as the two of you are there, having this conversation, there's a moment where, Vinny, you're otherwise sat there and you look back to where that magic was, and you swear you see what looks to be almost this metal object of some form, like almost swinging backwards and forwards, glimmers of red almost dancing around nearby to it. You're not entirely sure. The metal object almost looks like a lantern.
Dancing around? Okay, that's not good.
Seeing the light again.
Notably, reference-wise, it's away from the path. So if you'd kept on going, that's where it currently is.
Right.
So it can't have snuck
like it's
past
gone.
you from the path.
Okay. Like it. I mean, it
So
seemed
they're
like
going
it-
the wrong way?
So wait, are they on?
Sorry, I
the
was
other
asking more a
side of us
question
now?
of so are
sorry.
they on in the wrong way? They're avoiding us.
Not necessarily. So let me paint you a picture on tabletop to help with this. So if we assume this is the path, you've basically all where you previously camped was effectively a plateau section like this before it continues going on upwards, and you set up around here last time. This time around you've gone in the opposite direction and set up about 20-30 feet away, so you're about here-ish. The whatever this light source seems to be around here-ish.
Right.
So, and there's no way for it to have gotten where you are except by walking directly past your dome. So, you can only assume it's come from the opposite direction, or from above or below.
Would Vinny be able to recognize the kind of lights from maybe the town and the people, or the underground?
The town and the people tended
What?
to use more of a blue coloration of flame. This one's more of kind of a deep red. Go ahead and roll me a religion if you want, Vinny, just to see if you might know anything about this. And I'll say Kirv do the same as well, with it being pointed out.
Okay. $18.
18. And Vinny? Vinny?
I'm sorry, religion.
That's right. What was the total? Vinny?
For religion, sorry, 10.
Yes. 10. Okay. You otherwise kind of look at this light, and Vinny, you're not entirely sure what this is. Dark red light doesn't quite fit anything that you know. Kirv, on an 18, as you're sat here, you know this flame. You've seen it before. You know that this flame belongs to a very particular devil that has a tendency to travel around the hells delivering messages from those powerful enough to send them.
Curve suddenly gets to her feet, looks at the light, and says to Vinny, "Oh, I think it's a devil messenger."
Someone connected to your boss, then?
Maybe, but my boss can talk to me whenever he wants. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's for someone else around here in the
Maybe.
frozen
That's
wasteland.
if your boss's communication is magic, I don't think that could go through the dome. Although I know I'm an exceedingly powerful wizard, but I'm surprised that I can keep even the devil out.
Foiled again by a 3rd level spell. Gosh darn it. It's even worse than when they cast non-detection and you're like, darn it, I can't keep an eye on them now. My pact means nothing.
I'm like rules lawyering the Lord of Crows. Like, no, the description says it blocks all spells.
Therefore, Kirv loses all her levels of being a warlock when she's inside the bubble? Question mark? Or maybe the power was inside her all along. Mind blown. Anyway.
The real problem is that's true for her.
You cut out there a bit.
You cut out in Harlan.
Oh, apologies. The moment you make that call, against we're using it against every single warlock we encounter ever.
Yeah, he cut out again, but I get the gist of what he's saying. Yeah. No, if it works for you guys, it works against me, or against the other monsters, which, as funny as that would be, I think I'm going to have to go above and beyond the rules lawyering here for warlocks.
Yeah, I feel like if we can hold a caster like that down for 11 minutes while I cast the spell...
You've earned it.
That's...
Yeah,
we could,
what?
but we could just beat them to death in that time.
All that time they're doing 1 point of piercing damage from biting your hands. Just like, ouch, stop it.
Stop it.
So if I stay out here and wait for them to arrive to us, perhaps, do I risk an exhaustion? Or could this happen during my time slot of being on watch?
You can go out there during your time slot on watch without suffering a point of exhaustion, yeah. It's if you were to enter combat or cast any spells that you'd potentially suffer a point of exhaustion.
Would I have to leave the dome?
Looks like it, yeah. They haven't come any closer to you, but you could wait and see.
Oh. And if I wait, do I risk the exhaustion time?
Depends. If you stay up for more than your watch, yes.
I'll wait for a little bit longer.
Okay.
They're still there.
They
Stand
do.
still.
You wait for a while before you watch as there's another flash of some form of magic coming from the lantern. You can't make out their form by any means. but you've seen these grotesque figures before, and you know that this, where it's currently holding the lantern about 6 foot high, that's not it lifting the lantern, that's with its arms held downwards.
Ah,
You've seen these
okay.
before. They're about 12 foot tall, lanky, almost just kind of thin bone and wood constructions with metallic heads, jaws, and hinges, as they're more like infernal engines than devils. Yet they still class as devils for the purposes of what they are.
I think they want me to go out and meet them.
Okay, I can't join you, but I can back you up from inside.
It should
If
be
there's any
okay.
trouble, just run straight back in.
I'll do my best. But it's just a messenger, you know. What's the worst that can happen? They haven't sent an army.
Exactly.
I do a thumbs up, a double thumbs up, and then I walk out there a bit terrified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've interacted with them on occasion, and you know that devils like to protect their male very well, so these creations are very dangerous if you were to try and steal from them. But you know that they're otherwise meant to be non-hostile. They aren't sent as soldiers by any means.
I just hope they don't have bad news.
This is also true.
Okay, so I walk up towards them.
Okay. You step out of the dome, and Vinny, with your high perception here, you note that the creature immediately turns and shifts towards Kirv. Before you watch as it goes down onto one knee, you can hear the heavy creaking of wood and bone as it shifts into a one knee down knelt position as the head otherwise pulls down. You can see, for Vinny, this is a very grotesque thing to look at. For you, Kirv, you're more used to this, as you see that the bottom or the jaw itself is otherwise composed of these two massive, like, metal bear traps. You see that the eyes are otherwise socketed into place with what look to be these almost large carved gemstones, and then the head itself is just this mishmash of metal spikes and wires that otherwise connect to what look to be an exposed brain, and the rest of the body is otherwise covered with this thin veil of flesh, with no seeming genitalia or anything similar, more of just a smooth, extremely thin skin-to-bone contact. As it kneels down, it bends its head towards you and almost breathes in, lifting the lantern up to you, almost inspecting your face, before you watch as it reaches out to touch the side of your head. In this moment,
Sorry, I was just going to say, is that a normal move they do?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The messages they transmit via telepathy. As it places its hand on the side of your head, you begin to hear the sounds of a message being played back, and more accurately, you feel as if it's almost an extraction from the world. In this moment, the sound of the wind dies, and you find yourself standing on the hells once again. You see the otherwise rolling and otherwise heightened sections of carved obsidian. You see what looks to be endless farmlands of these rolling dark black and brown vines and thorns that coat the surrounding. And standing at the center of it all, facing you, you see what looks to be a tall, feminine form. You can see that her body wears no clothes by any means, but is instead otherwise bathed with these dark black thorn vines that wrap around all parts of her body, leaving probably mostly just the neck and the head exposed. Not a weave of armor necessarily, but think poison ivy style. As she stands there, you see the messenger standing next to her, standing a good 2 foot taller than her. As she stands there, taller than you, looking down upon you. As she takes a few steps towards you, you watch as plants and what look to be these long stretches of wood and vines begin to wrap around the nearby exterior as she steps towards you.
Do I
Kirv.
recognize her?
Go ahead and roll me a religion check.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I
18.
believe that is an 18.
You
Yeah.
do. You've never interacted with her, but this is one of the archdevils of Discia, the layer you're from. This individual is known as the Blackvine. As she steps up, there's an immediate reverence and understanding of power here to a certain extent. You can tell this individual controls a vast amount of magic just standing within your presence. Kirv Gold's tongue, I presume.
I do a very slight bow. More out of awkwardness than disrespect.
Mm-hmm. Good. You know who I am. I have heard
Yes.
word that you have given something of great worth to the Lord of Crows.
He is my patron.
And you are from the farm, are you not? The one that holds the geese?
Yes.
Good. I have an offer for you. One that you may find intriguing. Your goals and my own align. To a certain extent, you understand.
Is this about the goose?
Not entirely.
I understand that she's not saying everything for a reason.
Yes. We have connected interests. And you know what domain I rule over, yes?
Sorry, as in domain as in Discia? Or
Domain as
specifically-
in a specific aspect. So the Lord of Crows is the Lord of Crows.
Apologies for my ignorance.
I am the one who controls food or produce within the 7 realms of hell. And your patron, as you put it, keeps you on a very fine line. For you
Yeah.
produce what is my domain. I cannot claim you necessarily, but I can offer you something in return for my assistance if you wish.
Go on.
If you would take a binding, not the same as a pact necessarily, but one of honor, as much as a devil can have honor. If you follow that of the codes of the hells, I can grant you the power to achieve what you want without falling directly to the Lord of Crows.
I believe I understand.
And
What would the oath be exactly?
that you don't just work for the Lord of Crows, but you listen to what I have to say, and what I want. And when the time comes for your family to be freed of the shackle of the Lord of Crows, that you take my side.
It seems only fair.
Good.
And I assume that would benefit both of us? The exchange of power?
It would. I can give you more than he could. In its own way.
Does the Lord of Crows know about this?
He will. But he has no say over what I proclaim. Once your decision is made, he cannot stop me. But should you say no, you will be entirely his.
I believe you have yourself a deal.
The otherwise writhing vines and the dark thorns that otherwise cover her otherwise curl into a smile as she nods. And as she otherwise stretches out her hand, you begin to almost feel this shift, this change within you, as if a part of you is no longer solely devoted to the Lord of Crows, but a second contract of some form has been formed. Ones that don't conflict with one another, but do add a layer of complication, but benefit as well. As this happens, you feel yourself standing back on the cold landscape, the frigid wasteland around you, the wind bustling past, as you shiver, kind of the realization of exactly where you are once again. As the tall, lanky artificial engine looks at you, it turns, and you watch as with one kind of long, bony finger, an index finger that is far longer than the rest of them, peels this almost zip downwards, and you watch as it casts planar travel and disappears. You are left standing in the cold. Vinny, you watched as this creature touched the side of Kirv's head for probably a good 15 seconds or so before it pulled its hand away, and you watched as it turned and cast this very strange interdimensional spell.
Kirv turns around and starts to walk back into the safety of the tiny hut. But as she walks, I suppose only Vinny would see this, burgundy vines start to sprout from her armor, emerging like worms from beneath her scale mail. The tendrils grow and wrap around the shirt fabric of her torso, twisting and contorting into a kind of plaited armor. An arm of the plant creeps up her back to reach a thick hand over her left shoulder to form a pauldron. And once the tendrils stop their squirming, sharp thorns burst out, the tallest being from the patch on Kirv's shoulder. The armor looks heavy, intimidating, but ultimately suffocating.
Kirv steps back into the dome. This momentary pause almost catching you off guard, Vinny. Your companion's still asleep as Kirv steps in and sits down. The sound of otherwise the creaking and twisting of wood and vine beginning to make a bit more noise, as this seems to be more akin to heavier armor than what Kirv was previously using.
That could have been worse, she says to Vinny.
Vinny is stunned in silence.
A message and a delivery, then? Gesturing to the armor.
Kind of. Well, I think this goes a bit bigger than a goose, Vinny. Because now I have 2 lords of Disia who are interested in me. And I can't say that that doesn't make me a bit worried.
Okay. Well, this second lord, they haven't lost a goose as well, have they? Because we've made no progress on the first one.
I'm thinking she wants something a bit more than a goose. And that's saying a lot, because this is a very important goose.
Okay. This isn't some, like, realpolitik situation, is it? 'Cause I'm terrible at politics.
I think I'm gonna have to get pretty good at politics pretty quickly.
Okay. That armor, are you okay? It kind of seemed like it grew out of you.
It's comfier than it looks, but still a bit heavier than I'm used to.
Okay. Yeah, comfier than it looks isn't a high bar, I'm afraid, but
The prices we pay for more power.
well, if it isn't hurting, maybe you'll get used to it.
I imagine so.
Alright, well, guess we can go over the details tomorrow. You didn't see any of the skeletons while you were out there, did you?
Honestly, I wasn't looking. When he touched my head, I was mentally transported back to hell. So I didn't really have a chance to have a look around. But I think
Okay.
I think the whole thing might have scared off whoever's nearby, if there was anybody. I'm ready for sleep. This day has been too much.
It's been a long day.
two of you otherwise settle down for rest, continuing on to the second watch. Cat, go ahead and roll me a perception check, please. And roll one for Jeff as well. You will be making these with disadvantage, though, because the snow is beginning to pile up.
Okay, well, Jeff has advantage naturally, then disadvantage. So,
So,
is it flat or double disadvantage?
It'll be flat. So you
Okay.
roll with disadvantage,
Two are
and
mine,
then this
and
single one is
that
Jeff on
one's
the
Jeff.
end. Yeah. Damn.
Jeff,
Excellent.
Jeff
Me.
actually did really well, crazy enough. Mine is the lowest, which is a 13, and I think mine is negative. Yep, so it's a 12, and Jeff got good, man. Jeff is under Jeff thing. A peacock, and he has a +3.
Okay.
So he got 21.
And you
Good,
got
Jeff. I got 13.
13?
12.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. The night goes by peacefully, surprisingly. No undead in sight seem to come up path or seem to get anywhere near the dome by any means. You otherwise rest up as best you can through the course of your watch. And Vinny, if you'd like to go ahead and roll for Romulus, please. With disadvantage because of the snow build-up. And welcome. Welcome, Dan.
Welcome, Corpse.
Yes, welcome, Corpse.
I am Corpse.
You were left to one side of the Liam's tiny hut, so as to not be disturbed.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
we do
will.
all
I will mute. I'll mute up and then I'll just keep listening.
Yep. Cool.
How well did I roll, Simon?
You rolled an 8.
+5, 13.
13.
Nice.
Nice. You otherwise, you otherwise don't take any note of any particularly strange-looking enemies by any means. You don't see any figures walking around in the snow or the wind. You kind of begin to prepare breakfast as best you can, the smoke immediately getting pulled away by the blizzard and the high winds. But you prepare the food, the drink. There's a moment of not necessarily awareness to it, but while the rest of your party is sleeping, you're preparing the food and you hear almost this like shifting, and you turn around to see, not necessarily moving like by any particular means, but you can see that one of the eyes has been opened for Carver. They seem to be conscious for the moment.
Carvern is awake. Interesting.
Still,
Can I just go and say hello?
you can, yeah. She's still only got 6 hit points, 5 points of exhaustion, and 2 failed death saves, but I'll probably knock that down to 1 failed death save at this point.
How generous.
Hello. My name is Romulus.
Thanks, that'd be terrifying.
She can't respond. She is wrapped
It's
up like
nice
a
to-
burrito. She can't move. She can't speak at this moment.
I imagine you're probably not having a very good time right now. But I'd like you to know we're all very glad you're all right.
Welcome to my TED Talk. You don't have a choice.
You're doing
Um,
fine.
Vinny, if you'd be alright to roll me a
So-
persuasion check for Romulus, please.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
will. I'll leave this as is because this will be funny if it's a low roll. That's my only reasoning. Is that -1?
God. -1.
10. Completely average. They don't seem panicked, but I would say with your insight, due to the nature of your runes, I'd say this probably isn't necessarily anything you need to worry about rolling for. You can tell the look of someone who is defeated, who has had their spirit broken. you get the sense that even if they were scared for their life, even if they were terrified of you all, they wouldn't have any energy or will to put up a fight.
Rest up.
Well, I'm glad you woke up to Romulus and not Cat. That might have been quite scary.
The creature just starts going, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Tasty morsel so close to death. Cast Devour. Do it. Come.
You got knocked down. And it probably wasn't very fun. But you're out now. You're going to focus on resting and healing up. And we're going to make sure you're all right.
Okay. You go back to preparing food, and
Yeah.
by the time the rest of your companions are awake, Carvern has slipped back into unconsciousness. So,
I guess then, as the morning comes around, I'm doing the thing where we ladle a little bit of soup into
Yep.
the mouth and then just massage the throat to make
make
Carvern
sure it
swallow.
goes
Like,
down. Yep, that's fine.
Yeah. It's a very hearty and warming broth, and I'm using my cooking ingredients for this in order to kind of count it for my tasty treat bullshit.
Yeah. You know what? Let's make me a cook's utensils check. Because I actually need to roll for her con save. So we'll see if she rolls too low. No, she rolled high enough that she's not going to get frostbite today. But if you would like to go ahead and roll, we can count the tasty treats as being added to her as almost like a permanent temporary hit points to give her that little bit of a buffer. Should she take damage by any means, either by being dropped,
Okay, so
by being attacked, an errant fireball, who knows?
okay, that'll be
Who knows?
8 temporary hit points for me, 8 temporary hit points for Cat, 8 temporary hit points for Carvern, and well, I'm gonna give them to Vinny for the moment, on the very simple basis of if he dies, we have a lot of explaining to do for Carvern, and I just can't be fucked with it. So tasty treats, everyone, except you. You got the tasty Warlock patron. So enjoy. Right. So
nom, nom,
I've
nom.
made 12
Eats filch.
cook's utensils now. So Simon, roll that dice.
Roll that dice. What's it gonna
Hey.
land?
D12, you said?
No, I have a plus 12.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's just cook's utensils, but very high. I believe you have expertise in it?
I do now, yeah.
25. Nice.
15, yeah.
You make a very hearty and very welcoming meal to help Carvern. So yeah, I will say that the deaths, one of her death saves has been removed, or failed death saves has been removed, and she has the 8 temporary hit points, as you otherwise give her something to very much help and boost her through today. Your party is otherwise awake. Cat, you're feeling rejuvenated. Whether you're feeling ready, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm ready. Sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a thing, 'cause I know it's typically not, but would a cleanse rune help with the frostbite? If it happens?
In this instance, I will say I will allow a cleanse rune to work on Carvern only for the specific nature of it because of the condition she's in.
Yeah.
Normally, I wouldn't allow it, but in this case, in the event that she does build up frostbite, it will become useful for that purpose.
Cool. Okay, that's good to know. All right, I will make sure I have cleanse rune active then.
Okay.
And I will drop banish. No, I won't. I'll drop break.
Okay.
And we've all had a full long rest now.
Yes, everyone's had a full long rest, so make sure you restore everything. Full hit points, full everything, with the exception of Mortar, who we will see how you roll when we get there. For now, what would you all like to do The morning is yours. The wind is still heavy outside. Doesn't seem to have gotten any better, but doesn't seem to have gotten any worse. It seems to be stable for the time being, which does mean that travelling further up the mountain is going to be potentially difficult, but still possible. Just means there might be knocks, scrapes and bruises and such from climbing.
I want to check, first of all, how are we doing for resources?
I remember
More
correct.
health potions would be good.
We need health pots.
I've got no mana potions, and I never had health potions, so.
Okay, I have 16 days of food.
I've got 9.
21.
I think we're good for food.
Okay, we can... If we need to, we can take things slowly.
And Mortar has
Make as
18
many
he's not
huts as we
currently
need.
using.
And he also could potentially be food should we fail to revive him.
He's muted, I can say whatever I want. Feel free to chime in at any point, by the way. So, you count and stock of your supplies. You have enough to get pretty much anywhere that you might want to. The only problem will be if you encounter anything along the way.
Quick question. How long do we have until we can no longer bring back Mortar?
24 hours from when we went down.
So approximately
about 12
we're
hours.
calling out the second.
Would you guys like me to assist with that?
How would you be assisting?
I could give us some more time.
Right. I mean, I want to bring him back as soon as possible, but how long could you give him?
Sorry, new spells.
If it's
Just-
what I think it is, it's 10 days. You can extend the revival timer by.
I mean, I'm very happy to get him back as soon as possible. I was just worried that we were gonna not get there in time because of travel or whatever.
I would personally feel better about bringing him back sooner rather than later.
Yes.
But at the same time, if we can get into a safe position to do so, that is a benefit. So,
I can wait until we damn, we've only got 2 hours and we can't do this. I'm happy to wait till then.
I will also say the nature of the spell will be safest inside of the bubble anyway. Just simply due to the nature of otherwise you have to contend with weather potentially interrupting your castings. Depending on what you're doing.
Oh shit, how long does it take me
Can
to...
we cast inside the bubble?
Yeah, you can cast inside the bubble, the magic just can't pass outside of it. So
Okay.
So it's okay. I mean, yes, if we want to go down that route, rules as written, Mortar's soul can't re-enter his body because he was inside the dome, but we're going to ignore that for the sake of the narrative. Otherwise, that would also be funny and also be an interesting way to trap a lich by putting him inside of a tiny hut and not letting him get to his phylactery, because that would be funny, but also stupid.
Yeah. Mortar's soul comes in from underneath. Don't consider the implications of that.
Yeah, that's fine. Makes sense. Secretly, that's what the messenger showed up to tell Kirv, was like, hey, we found this guy called Mortar. He's made it to the second layer of hell. Do you want us to send him back?
I would believe it.
And don't worry, if I do this, I can still cast more spells through the day.
I could get him
Okay.
up, whenever. I'm pretty sure.
Can we do it right now?
Yeah.
Okay then. Sorry, I was just... I didn't know if you needed to get materials for it or whatnot.
No, I was looking through my pack and I think I can substitute some of the fine blood crystal and bring him back. Though I'm kind of nervous. This is gonna take a lot, and I'm scared I'm gonna mess it up.
Well, he's already dead.
True, but he could be very dead.
Are you going to tell me he's mostly dead? Dead is dead, no?
His soul exists and he has a chance to be brought back, but
You've got to try.
I know, and I want to, and I've worked out. I'm ready. I can do this.
You can do this. You will.
I will, and I plan to. I'm going to. Well, how long have we got left of the bubble?
Probably half an hour at most.
Okay, well, if we're going to do it, it's probably better to do it now. Though, we're going to have to deal with that, because if he comes round and, you know, his heart starts beating, his body starts functioning, that's a big wound and he's going to bleed out. Gesturing to the leg that's no longer there.
It can put his soul back in his body, but it can't close up the wound.
Yeah.
I can't work miracles.
By those limitations, rules, and requirements.
Look, my rune will convert the magical potential into being able to bring his soul back, but it can't fix as well. It doesn't heal. It just calls his soul. It's like a telephone call. Well, a smell, whatever. It's like a call.
It's like a telephone call.
I just
Spellaphone.
Spellaphone. I basically can communicate with his soul to try and lure it back, and he then has the right or the choice to come back. It creates a bridge, but it doesn't fix his body.
Right.
We need to fix this.
Vinny, when we're down to 10 minutes left on the timer for the bubble, or 11 minutes, whatever. Start recasting it. I'd much rather we have to leave a bubble that it doesn't cost us anything to make, than we run out of it when we need it.
It won't take long at all to bring him back.
We don't know what state. We don't know exactly what state he'll be in, so we need to be careful with this. Do we have the leg? I believe we picked it up, but do we have the leg?
I don't think we did pick it up.
No, I don't
The
think anyone picked it up because the skeleton.
Mr. Tweetums grabbed Mortar and then just dimension doored out.
Can we have a roll for whether Mr. Tweetums picked up the leg as well?
If Filch did, he was using it as a cigar.
But he did disappear shortly afterwards, so maybe it dropped.
Well, then it's still at the ruins.
Well, is there any chance of a roll that we might have picked it up? I'm just if the answer's no, it's no. But I want to ask.
I'll say in this instance no.
Okay.
With the nature of it, his leg has gone.
Right. What have we got that we can use to make that as comfortable as possible and seal it up?
Cat pulls out like a plethora of bandages she used to use for her arm, but no longer can wrap her arm. So I have these, just bandages, and rope if we want to cut it off, like the circulation to a specific part of it. We're going to have to keep in mind that that's going to be probably subject to the elements. We're going to have to keep an eye on stuff. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I just remember seeing Kay do things.
Yeah, if we're gonna cauterize it, we should definitely do that while he's still dead.
Agreed.
So I'm not sure if
Chris,
I'm not sure
I
if
don't
seeing us
suppose-
burning his corpse is going to help him, going to motivate him to come back to us.
Oh no, it's
Okay,
Mortar.
Chris,
But go on.
I don't suppose that you would let me. I don't suppose you would let me cauterize his wound using my cook's utensils, because technically it's a type of searing.
Oh God! Bust out the frying pan.
You know what?
I'm ready.
Make this. I'll say this will be a medicine check. But do you have proficiency in medicine?
I do not.
Okay, you have proficiency for the purposes of this test because you'll be using a hot frying pan to cauterize his wound.
Fucking
Thank you.
hell.
Simon, roll that die.
I hope you washed that for breakfast.
It's going to be great when a natural 1 gets rolled and it's cauterized, but there's just bits of egg stuck in it, and it's now spiced leg.
Spicy
Aw.
leg.
So 9 plus.
If it's just
With
advantage on
proficiency.
medicine check, then it's
Oh no,
5.
it's with proficiency.
So it's 5 with proficiency. If
Okay.
you let me, because I'm technically using cook's utensils to do it, if you let me add expertise on that, but no, it's.
I'll
plus
say
5.
this because of the purpose of the application. I'll say it will
Yeah,
just
yeah.
be proficiency, but 14
yeah.
still good. You sear the wound, cauterizing it. It's consistent
Seared leg.
with some bandages, and if they're wrapped tightly enough, there shouldn't be any bleeding, and there shouldn't be any worry about Mortar bleeding out at all.
There's no blood. There is some ketchup, though.
Am I the only one getting hungry at the smell? Just me?
Just you.
Mm.
Okay, Kirv, cannibal. Right.
I will be applying some of my honey to the bandages because it's antibacterial, antibacterial, which will help prevent infection.
And if he gets cooked later, he'll be honey roasted.
And if he gets cooked later, delicious. I will also be making use of where is it here?
Salt and pepper?
No, those would go that would be terrible. The wheel of cheese, however, no.
Oh God!
If we do decide to do this over, longer than 30 minutes, I will start making a peg leg out of some of my wood.
Okay. I'll say go. This will be a Carpenter's Tools check, and I'll say that Vinny, you can just re-up the bubble as you need to for the purposes of this. So go ahead and roll a
Okey-dokey.
Carpenter check for Romulus.
Well,
Yeah, you know what?
What?
Hey Dan, you there? Okay, right.
Hey, bro. Yeah, I'm in.
Hey, you wanna roll
Hello.
the Carpenter's Tools check for Romulus because Harlan can't be in tabletop. So do you want to roll the Carpenter's Tools just to see how good
Sure,
your peg
man.
leg will be?
Which
oh,
quality score
God.
do you need to be using for that?
Let's go with. Also, you use Harlan's die because it'll be funnier. And
Oh, use Harlan's. Okay.
yeah, and we'll go with. Because this is rudimentary, let's go with Con.
Yay.
All right,
Okay, what do we got?
give us a
Okay,
roll.
Ready?
Yep.
Be the one.
5 plus
That's not
Plus
great.
12.
plus what?
Plus 12.
Plus 12. Oh, that's right, because you have the expertise. That's right. So
Yeah.
yeah, 17.
Damn.
Easy enough. You have either a bit of wood on you, or you probably have the bit of wood on you, and you begin to
I
carve
do.
a rudimentary and simple peg leg for Mortar to use. It's not going to be perfect, and he will need to get a proper prosthetic at some point, but at the very least will minimise slowing down.
Yeah, for right now, this if he needs to move, he can theoretically do a little bit rather than having to hop.
Okay. So, I will say, in terms of because I think it's creative and it works, due to the nature of the reviving magic requiring people to input something, I will say that will be Romulus's contribution to the
Yay.
to it, and that will be a success. Having made Mortar a peg leg to assist, and encourage him to come back
Don't forget my excellent cooking
of his
of
leg.
his leg.
I'm not telling him you cooked his leg.
Yeah. So, I'll say with that, Cat begins to perform the spell in order to bring Mortar back. I need 2 more contributions one from any of the 3 remaining party members.
If I may, I will just say a couple words whilst people are thinking.
Yeah, go for it.
Mortar, please come back to us. You're not done here yet, and I'd hate to lose a friend. That's it. I don't think Romulus says anymore.
Okay.
I guess Cat will say something because she's casting the spell.
Okay.
Stupid idiot. Look what you've done to yourself. But just know you did real good work. Vinny's friend is out because of you. So you did well. Also, you kind of got to come back. I think I found a way to improve Operation Sniper Tower. And I kind of need you to help run me by it.
Roll me a persuasion check.
God, I'm really bad at this. Actually, that's a positive side. Persuasion. It's 2, that's 15.
15. With that, Mortar is encouraged with the idea of improving upon Operation Sniper Tower. Somewhere you can feel the lure of his spirit being pulled at the idea of, fun mechanical things that we can do to make a dying project work. And Kirv, Vinny?
If it's alright if I take this one, Vinny?
Yeah, if you have something for this, then go for it.
I sort of, in like a almost whispered tone, say that I hate being in other people's debts. So you have to come back. So we can be even, okay?
Do you want that to be intimidation?
Bruh.
Yeah, that's funny. No, I think I'll go for persuasion on this one.
Okay, go for it. DC will be slightly higher because someone's already done persuasion, but go for it.
Oh man, so it would actually be better if I do intimidation. Fine, you've twisted my arm.
Then go for it. I don't mind which one you choose.
That is a dirty 20.
Okay. You hearing this, Mortar? How many of these would you say were successes? You don't have to tell me which ones.
How many would I think were successes?
How many were successes? Yes.
How many were successes? Explain this from Mortar's point of view. Mortar's never had friends. He's never had a good thing said about him at all. All of them were successes, 100%.
Okay.
He's never wanted to live more than in this moment.
Okay.
Aww.
Go ahead and roll me the D20,
bad now.
please. The one in the death saving throw zone. I can tell you this now that the DC is 6, and remember that if you roll under the DC, you will gain points of exhaustion. If you roll over it, then you'll just come back with a bit more stuff.
But no leg.
But no leg. Okay. Let me have a look at what you got. Okay. So, with a nice high roll, you will come back with, I will say, half your hit points and half your spell points. and the uses of half the uses of each of your features. So as if you'd taken a half long rest in a way.
Okay, amazing.
You will still come back with your 2 points of exhaustion you had prior to the encounter, and make sure to set your death saves to not failed. And Cat, go ahead and roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
It's bad, so yeah.
Okay. You suffer 2 points of exhaustion as your body is strained by the magical tension that is required. As you perform this ritual, burning the spell points in that moment to almost grab hold of Mortar's soul, beginning to build that bridge, and in that moment Mortar returns, the gemstones beginning to break, Mortar's breath, otherwise as he inhales the return of this life force to him, the gemstones shatter and are consumed by the magic. Go ahead and roll me wild magic. And how many spell points did you spend on this?
I just burnt 16 spell points. I've burnt a quarter of my
Oh,
spell points,
no.
bringing it back.
16 puts that at...
I don't know where it went. It only ran off.
Oh.
It only went and buggered off, didn't it?
Okay. I think that is still a success, because 16, I believe, is the equivalent of 11th level spell, so you actually don't get wild magic on this.
Very good. As you look over at Kat, blood streaming out of her nose, and she's definitely feeling very dizzy and lightheaded.
Yeah. But Mortar, you are back,
yeah,
and you
Mortar.
are alive.
Mortar sits bolt upright in almost just unnaturally fast motion, and he just begins like hacking up, just like as air's just returning into his lungs and blood's starting to flow around his body, and he's unfocused is a nice way to put it. He's just breathing, just as everything's almost kind of starting up.
I'm gonna get down next to him. Deep breaths, Mortar, deep breaths. You've just gone to what I like to call the Undying Lands. And let me tell you, it's not a fun place.
I assure you, the Undying Lands, not a suitable name because I was very much dead.
Yes, it's one of those comedic misnomers. Now, deep breaths. Here, have a little bit of water. You don't want to swallow the first one. You want to rinse your mouth out and spit. Good. Good. Alright, now, proper drink now. Not too much.
Also, I kind of slowly begins to drink Romulus's kind of request. He's almost in a state of like very suggestibility, like in terms of like anybody could say anything to him right now, and he would probably do it because his brain is so fucked up.
Oh, don't tempt me.
Okay, water's going away
It's a
now.
prime opportunity.
Water. Okay, water's gone now. I'm going to spoon you some soup. You'll like it. I put extra pepper in it.
That sounds really good, but give me a minute. Oh, it's really bright.
Yes. Yes. Did you see the koala at the end of time?
Yes, Chris. My question would be, what did Mortar see? If he saw anything.
Mostly blackness. Very little else, in fact.
Not hell.
I think more.
No.
I think Mortar feels very cold. In terms of just like he's actively shivering, and he's just kind of. I didn't see any koala. That would have been amazing. I just.
Oh no, it wouldn't. Koalas are terrible.
They're known as drop bears.
Just fucking useless.
Nah, I just felt cold. And alive.
Well, you're back here with us now. Also, you are down a leg.
And Mortar looks down at his peg leg and kind of like freezes for a minute as he kind of looks at it and goes, "This is actually really good craftsmanship."
Thank you. I worked quite hard on it. Don't worry, we'll get you a better one once we're in a town or somewhere. But this'll do for now. Yes, I understand it's quite shocking.
Oh no! Why did you guys bring me back?
Well, we like you.
Hey,
You're one of us now. You might have heard whilst you were dead, I called you my friend.
you what?
Yeah, you're stuck with us now, motherfucker.
I don't get it. You kind of like almost falls into like a state of just immense self-reflection at how much of a dick he's been to you guys, and he's just going like you know, how many problems he's caused and everything, and he's just like going like, whoa, like these people actually give a shit. Like, these people actually care. And I think that scares him in some way, because now he has something to lose, and he nearly lost it.
Cat will stumble over to you and sit next to you and just point to Carven. You saved her. Good work.
You awake?
No, I don't think so.
To clarify, has Carvern recovered any hit points at all, or
6 from Healing Word. Or no, from the health potion, I believe.
right?
Mortar will try. Mortar will try to stand.
You try to stand.
That will be
Make,
there if you fall.
make me a dexterity saving throw.
Okie dokie. Let me just see what that stat is, because it's very good for me.
I'll be prepared just in case.
Yeah, that's a 25.
Oh.
5. You go to stand and Cat and... Oh, not Cat. Kirv and Romulus, the two of you are kind of there to support him as he pushes himself up, and there's a wobble, but you watch as he kind of plants his peg leg down, kind of leans on it, takes a step, nearly stumbles, but kind of catches himself. And you feel you could walk like this, not easily, mind, but enough.
Yeah,
You
this is gonna get used to. I tried to like put on like a fair bit of weight onto it to see how sturdy it is.
Yeah, it's sturdy enough that it will do quite happily for the time being, but again, it is a filler. I'll say for the time being, your speed is only reduced by 5 feet, and we'll have a cumulative dex save every day to basically see how long it takes for you to get used to it, at which point then I won't have it hinder your movement, but if you still want to go with the prosthetic idea that you spoke of, we'll go with that, yeah.
Yes, I would love to go for the prosthetic idea, but this is
filler.
the hand I've been dealt.
Yeah.
This is the filler.
Yeah.
I would like to kind of stumble my way over to Harlan, and I will try to cast Cure Wounds on her.
Okay. You cast Cure Wounds on Carvern.
So I'll cast it at, because Mortar kind of sees her in this light, in proper natural light for the first time. He sees that she's completely flayed, all of the scales are gone, and he's like,
She's unconscious, but you can tell she's not shivering. She's well wrapped, but she needs proper attention. Healing in the form of low-level magic, such as Cure Wounds and Healing Word and such, will be useful to carry on and help. But to the severity of the damage that she has taken, greater magic is going to be required to restore her to who she used to be. And at the very least, you know that some individuals, they don't really recover from some injuries like this. So this could be permanent, but...
I think Mortar realizes the scope of his magical ability is very limited, especially in comparison to a lot of people in his party. He goes, I was in your position, I'd be very scared. But maybe this will put you at ease. And Mortar will cast purely flavorful. Will cast protection from evil and good to try and almost bolster her in a way, I guess.
She is unconscious, I will note, at the moment.
That's fine. I want her to have pleasant dreams if she is dreaming.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. If you would like to use a cure wounds or anything, feel free to do so as well. Just because the extra hit points will mean that she can take potential damage, and an errant fireball going off from wild magic can happen. So we've seen it happen now.
I will use my I'll use my casting of I'll cast protection from evil and good as my first spell, and then I'll cast a 3rd level cure wounds on that.
Okay. Yeah. You don't have to go necessarily all in, but the extra hit points will help in case anything happens.
I think seeing her as she is and kind of realizing how easily life can be just ripped away, he's kind of going, well, you mean something to a friend of mine, so we're going to make sure we get out of here, past the dungeon. Job's not done until you get civilization, essentially. So he'll cast a wound, so that's 3d8 plus 4.
Okay, go for it.
It's 9 plus 4, so 13.
13? Okay. That certainly helps. She's nowhere near her max, but for the time being, it's doing alright.
I think then kind of upon doing that, Mortar sits back down, he kind of just looks at everybody, and then hand kind of drifts to his holster. He realizes it's empty. And he kind of bows his head and he's like, shit.
Oh. Shit.
Yeah, sorry. We, well, for obvious reasons, couldn't take it with us.
I didn't get the last
And
part.
we left it
What
behind.
happened? What happened? I was surrounded, and then everything faded to black. I missed the last part of what happened. Did we run?
We ran, but, well, we got you back. We got her out. And, well, I'd call that a win, even if it was a somewhat, less than perfect victory. Long story short, Kirv over there summoned a far too large filch, and it teleported most of us out. Me and Kat managed to link up whilst that was happening, and teleported out ourselves. Did get mildly roasted on the way out, but the rest of us found us and made sure we didn't die. And here we are.
We got Carvern out safely. Kirv managed to get the relic as well.
I've got it. And looks at Kirv. We did it.
We did it.
Kind of a genuine grin goes across Mortar's face. He's like, hell yeah, that's how we do.
Kirv can't help but grin back.
The nearly immortal herald got knocked on his ass.
Now
Yeah.
that was priceless.
What was the deal with that guy?
Utter
I don't
bastard.
think.
I wish I knew.
I mean, he could go toe to toe with you, pointing at Romulus. But he's bad
Oh
news.
no. That was just the first phase. One of, if I hear the stories right, one of his ilk can face off against a dragon easy. And I don't mean some of the whelplings or the younglings. No, I mean
real
ancient dragons.
Yeah, the real big fuckers.
Well, that's his ilk, not him. He lost to us. Okay, maybe we didn't kill him, but we certainly stole something very important from him.
Well,
We
that
got what
much-
we needed.
That much is true,
So-
but that was a big price.
Right, so catch me up to speed real quick. Where are we right now?
Well, we're away. We're on our way to the capital city. We managed to escape, and from what we know, they haven't followed us. Though I
We
think
are
at some,
invincible.
at some point, I think I might have to send a sending to the Herald of Husk.
Wait, what? Why?
Yeah,
The
why?
creature is down there with him.
What do you mean?
You remember before we went down, I summoned the creatures and I said I need to make sure I collect all the bits that have escaped?
Yeah.
This?
Oh,
I
did we
collected
not
one
kill
of
him?
4.
Gosh.
Yeah.
There are 3 bits down there. 2 of them went into the big pool. I was hoping that'd kill them,
Silver.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if it's actually killed them, and I'm now concerned that that potentially could be a portal. And the other one burrowed into his lair. So I don't know. He might be a Herald of Husk. He might be all-powerful. This creature scared deities. Given it long enough and enough time to get its power, we might end up having to fight a corrupted Herald.
Only a fragment, though, right? We defeated the Noctarch, and that had a fragment. If we continue to gain power the way that we are,
I would say this fragment that is in his lair is 10, maybe 20 times the size of the bit that we fought with the Noctarch.
right now we can't do much about that.
No,
It's for future us.
but
Sure.
I thought that I should warn him at least.
Thank you.
I don't know. I'm concerned about warning him, and because then he'll be able to communicate with me, and I don't want to give him my name because obviously that comes with a lot of consequences. But at the same time,
Like
if he can't
maybe
stop
that.
the creature, and the creature then runs rampant down here while we aren't anywhere near, that's a lot of power
Yeah.
very quickly, and it's close to
Oh.
the capital.
If you do send a sending, I'll stay with you because I'll be able to piggyback off of your sending and hear what he says in return. If he tries anything funny, I should be able to distort it enough that it won't harm you.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I don't know. I was expected to get free, but
Thank you.
I was in a position where I either had to leave the creature or stand and go toe-to-toe with the Herald. I wouldn't have survived a hit from the Herald.
Neither would I. I went down to a small mob of skeletons. That's a real, let me tell you, that's a real wake-up call.
Well, that's why I take the hits and you deal them.
Though they did really hurt. I
It
got
really did.
pretty
Why
badly
did they
hurt by the
take my-
skeletons.
Why did they take my leg? I was dead.
Keychain?
I was fucking dead.
I think one thought about a
Keychain.
footnote. I'm not sure what that meant.
Maybe you took off one of their legs and they needed a replacement.
Oh no, I don't think I hit anything in that combat. I literally specifically went for Carver because that was an option.
Yeah, And if you had to say thank you before now, she probably wouldn't be alive if you hadn't stuck your neck out for her.
Seemed important to you. You're my friend.
I suppose we should probably start prepping to move out.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. I can make as many. I can make tiny huts as often as we need them. How far do you think you can go?
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm going anywhere fast.
Just, Chris, in a thing,
Mhm.
could Terrador carry both me and Mortar?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna get Terrador because I'm way too tired after casting that spell. I mean, you can get a ride with me if you want.
I can walk a little bit. I would like stretch my legs, but
That's
I will
fine.
definitely take you up on that offer if I get tired. Maybe Terrador should carry cover instead. She can't move. But her condition's too bad. That's what's happened to her is fucking insane.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Chris, you said she's down to 1 failed death save now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she is notionally recovering slightly.
Yeah, she's recovering bit by bit. So she has 1 failed death save that's going to stick around until an appropriate amount of recovery has happened. But her hit points, she isn't regenerating. And the points of exhaustion, she isn't going to regenerate until she gets to... until she's able to rest somewhere and get treated medically.
How about I keep an eye on Mortar as we walk, and Carvern gets the ride.
I'm good with that. I need to get used to this thing. Kind of knocks at his leg and looks at Romulus and just says, "This is kind of wild. Thanks."
It happens.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I guess it does.
If it helps, I knew a few sailors once who had peg legs. They said the best way was to learn under fire.
Learn under.
I think they meant while on a rocking ship, but the snowy mountain seems good too.
And if you want the extra pressure, I have got a gun.
We should go. We should go very quickly.
Just a cheeky smile. But in all seriousness, at some point we do need to carry out Operation Tower, Sniper Tower too. I have ideas.
I know if I
Okay. Before I forget, everybody except for Mortar mark off 1 ration because you did have food the previous day.
I've already done.
Cool. Okay. So, anything you'd like to do before we begin the first day of travel, if you are travelling as a group, or if you're staying put?
Just in response to what Kat was saying about Operation Sniper Tower,
Go for it.
Mortar's expression remains very dour as he kind of goes to perform Operation Sniper Tower with these, and he pulls out the stalker blades that he has in his sheath. I think we'll have to save that for another gunslinger. Sorry, bro.
I don't know about that. I have a idea. Next time you get a moment to yourself, see if you can knock on the door. It might be able to give you an answer to get that back. You're bonded to it. Bonds run deep. Very, very deep. He might have an answer. Don't rule it out just yet.
Before I died, I did knock on the door. And he didn't answer.
Maybe he has a limited door knock policy per day. Like, I can only use the creature's abilities once per day. Now, for my asthma, I can use twice a day, but it's still limited. The body has a limited capacity of what it can and can't sustain. So, now that it's been, give it maybe another day, because your body needs to recover, but don't give up hope, my friend. There is still a chance.
So just nods, but you can tell his heart's not in it.
I understand.
How are you there?
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
Right. Okay. We're gonna move out then.
Alrighty.
As like obviously we're packing up to leave, can I just keep an eye behind us? Just because the idea that obviously, you know, you guys have been moving and everything, Mortar just wants to make sure that we're covering our tracks as best we can. Just on the off chance this entity that could go toe to toe with the entire party is following us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just as we're moving.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, in which case we'll begin this as getting ready for travel. Kat, did you need to bring out Terador and such?
Okay, so as I'll step out of the hut, and I will summon Terador. Right. If you want to put Carvern on, Terador, you okay to carry us? Right. Oh, mage armor. Okay. And I will go to try and cast mage armor, and it fails.
You're unable to do so.
Where's that gone? Look down at Cychania. Cychania looks back at Kat, taps Terador's crystal, and taps her book. And there's a page that just stands out from the others, so I'll open to that page. Titan armor? Okay. Give it a try. And I am going to cast Titan armor for the first time.
Ooh.
Okay.
Hang on, what level is that? That's 5th as
Fifth.
well. Cool.
Yeah.
More spell slot. Okay, that takes me down to 45. Holy crap.
Okay.
Okay.
You go ahead and roll wild magic for me, if you please.
I don't, please.
No?
I'm still above half, just to clear that up. Right. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay. You otherwise begin to cast this. Go ahead and describe what Titan armor looks like.
So, a glow comes from Terador's crystal. Very bright to start with. And the pink crystals that sort of navigate round the back of Terador, many of them come from Terador's crystal that Kat's got around her neck, as they form bands around her arms and weave into her hair and along her legs, as she is now covered in multiple shards of crystals that Terador also has.
Very cool.
Now I have a sick AC, fam.
Yeah. Scary AC.
I know, right? I can get it to 27.
Oh,
Not bad at all. How long have you been cooking on that?
I haven't.
Greatest wizard of our age, ladies and gentlemen.
And she's 14.
Yeah.
So, with Titan armor
is she
cast...
14? Sorry,
believe
is she like 17 by this point?
Who
or
knows
14?
anymore?
No,
No.
still 14.
She's 14.
Okay.
We're getting there.
So, with Titan armor cast, with Terrador in place, do we want to take a quick break there and then come back in a few minutes? Or do we want to just
Sure.
keep going?
Yeah?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I wouldn't.
Yeah, we'll take a quick one, 2 to 3 minutes, and then once everyone's
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
I'll explain the new travel system.
Cool. I'll be back in a sec. Zero, please move.
Okay,
Cup of tea.
I'll be back in a moment.
Right. Yeah. Back in a second.
Ooh. Be back, baby. Got some cooking to do. Alright. What can I do? Oh, good to be back. Good to be back. How was everybody's day?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Ah,
Oh boy.
yep. It's going
Yeah.
well.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Definitely, I had the idea of knocking on the door previously, but definitely want to have a little conversation with Snap. Provided he's in. Maybe out for groceries, who knows?
Might be at work at the moment.
Hey, you never know, bro. Shifts are a bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
Sorry, getting a bit tired. I swear I've got my cup of tea.
Very important.
Mhm.
I've literally throughout the day had like 5 cups of coffee and I gave myself a headache at work.
Big day then.
It was rough today, yeah. Had a patient who's basically in a hospital and everything because I work there. And her husband is in the Princess Anne, so a little bit just like walk away from the general. And basically she got news that he a really bad night and basically gone downhill to the point where he may be on his way out, so to speak. And she was absolutely devastated. So I was with her, providing emotional support, but it was very, very difficult. Very heavy today.
You did good work.
Well, I hope so. Sometimes it's one of those things where you get home and you go like, did I do enough? And it's very much a kind of a vicious circle, because you can be really, really harshly, like you can be your own worst critic essentially, and kind of go, well, you could have done this and this would have made this better. It's like, well, you don't know that. It could have made things worse.
But you did what you could.
I'm just trying to be content with what I've done. That I did what I thought was right in the moment.
I'm back. You're welcome.
Hooray!
We're back. So,
I too am back.
Welcome back. Have we got a Simon? Not yet.
Guys, whenever we get a chance, boy howdy, if you could help buy some ink and paper so I can make some life runes, because there's no way I could ever physically afford to do that again.
my money is going on health potions and a new leg.
Understandably so.
I can put some.
Yeah, health potions. Stock up on our wizard supplies.
Chris, get out my character sheet.
No.
It's stressing me out. I mean, the fact that you're still here is like, what are you doing here? What do you want? I'm expecting to see, it's like, always have access to Black Page. Cool. 1-for-1 health point to SP point. Cool. And then just I'm expecting to see, by the way, you've cracked a couple more. Have fun. Something stupid like that. I'm expecting you to edit my character sheet and just be like, oh, by the way, here's a new thing. Good luck.
There was nothing like some mid-game adjustments to really let you know how bad shit's gonna get.
I mean, I also,
Honestly.
if it makes you feel any better, I also have Rebecca's and Dan's character sheets up, so.
Okay. Rebecca has just gone through a character shift. Dan has just died and probably got a lot going on.
Mortar's going through.
Leave me alone.
Mortar's just going through depression. Like he's just like there's nothing else interesting there. Do not give me the ability called depression. How dare you?
Depression. Every time I go to attack, you got to roll d20, snap 1.
Gonna say it becomes a condition.
Yeah, it's like you've got a pre-roll before you can actually roll to attack.
Oh, that's so funny. It's like every time Mortar has a negative intrusive thought, he has to roll against depression. Oh, it's too real, man. It's too real. Oh, man. Well, pardon me,
I'm glad we brought Mortar back.
Welcome back.
Right, holy crap.
I'm glad to be back.
Okay.
I didn't
Don't
like
do it
being
again.
muted.
So,
I can't help that.
Right.
It was the one
What?
time that I did it, and I was like, this is the only way I can be helpful.
You know what's unsettling is I can bring all of you back, but Cat dies, we're in trouble.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
yeah.
1,000,000%.
Well, you begin your journey. Pterodor in tow, with the rest of you all preparing and moving about the day. I will explain how the travel systems will work now. Some of you I've already spoken to about this, so you already have a little bit of an in as to how this works. So, the main thing that you need to know is that you'll be rolling 2d10s instead of any other variety of dice. It will literally just be 2d10s. And now, what is that rattling sound?
Sorry, one sec.
Well, Jamie already knows how this
Making
works.
offerings to the dice gods.
Yeah, apparently.
No,
Making
I'm
a
trying
cocktail.
to wrestle my cat out of my chocolate peanut jar.
Fair.
Yes, making offerings of peanut jars. that
So,
makes sense, yes.
the way that the travel now works is you roll 2d10. You might encounter something, you might not. Either way, the roll gets added to a cumulative DC. The higher you roll, the less likely you are to encounter something, and the cumulative DC is added to over multiple days of travel. This could include local events, such as weather events or encounters, whether that may be enemies or anything else. You may come across people or creatures that are trying to track you. You could have long-term goals with like a DC of several hundred of something that's trying to currently follow you through some means, and there are ways to reduce that at the cost of speed. But for the time being, we will begin with, where are you headed?
Let's get to civilization, no?
Do we want to go back to the capital? I mean, now that we've done what we've done, what is our end goal now? Because
We haven't been to the capital. We've been to Ovok Grow. We haven't been to like Ovok Grow is the capital, right?
No.
that's true. But now that we've rescued Vinny's friend, like, where are we taking her? Kirv's goose is north of, like, here. Really, it's on the way back to Zaker's. So, what are we doing? What is our goal now?
Well, we need somewhere and someone that'll heal up Cavern.
She's not going to survive out here if she stays as she is. She needs actual medical help. Spells and stuff are all well and good, but we're not powerful enough to get her back on her feet properly. And also,
That's kind of by mere magic when you are not. We are made to deal with life, but we don't deal with this.
Yeah, we've been doing a pretty good job so far of keeping her stable, but we need to get her back to civilization.
agreed.
Real
Also, there,
live
make sure we get
civilization.
supplies. We need supplies as well. We're running late, at least from what I can see. Also, I don't think there's anyone here who would object to a hot bath, some good wine.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I think Mortar kind of hoists himself up and like puts an arm around Kirv for support. As Kirv said, she would travel with Mortar.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of very frail.
Thorny armor.
What?
Our,
Mortar dies, and come back on 1 hit point.
Mortar dies again. Nah, murders. It all goes wrong.
yeah, so unless we have some way of traveling long distances quickly, it seems like our best bet is just to walk to Glassy.
Do that then. But we should probably watch our back. Since, I mean, we don't know who's following us, and if we ran, I'm assuming Casey is still alive.
Yeah. We
I
do see
assume
it.
so. I thought maybe he left,
After,
but he might have just sealed
after
himself
what
around
he's... Got a question for you, Vinny.
them.
After all of this, pointing to Harlan and then pointing to himself, you still want him alive?
I have a counter theory to that. You know how something has manipulated your mind to losing memories? What if the very thing that's messed with your mind has messed with his mind into thinking what he's doing is right? As you said, this is very out of character for him. But he seems intent on what he's doing. I'm not saying what he's doing is right, but
Yeah, he's
something's powerful to mess with your minds, your memories.
the Cassius I knew was dedicated, pig-headed at times, but committed to what he thought was right. But he wasn't cruel, and he wasn't a murderer.
Sounds like he had a change of perspective, rather than outright mind control or possession.
I want to believe that my friend couldn't change that much, but I don't know. I can't be sure that that's true. At the very least,
How much of
I don't want to make him pay for his crimes until I know what they are. I still don't know very much of what happened over that time that I'm missing, or while we were separated. I was hoping to ask Carvern, but she's not in much of a state to talk at the moment.
she'll probably have the most insight into what's going on with him, so let's make our priority getting to civilization before we do anything else. Make sure that she is well looked after. We have the funds to do so, don't we?
We'll manage.
We have some money. We can get more.
Besides, there's probably job opportunities in the capital, right? Wants to see the one-legged stripper.
Romulus might have to sell his body.
Well, you might have to cut a leg off.
That's not really what I meant, but
Oh, that wouldn't be my body getting the leg cut off, I assure you.
How many of us are
mine.
going to have to give up our
I got
legs?
Hey, I can't afford to lose my second, let alone my third.
Well, you what? Hang on.
I just put one short, sharp look at Mortar.
That's our finger guns.
Cat looks so like
This guy
you.
knows who I'm talking about.
Moving on. So,
Don't think too hard, cat.
I like to think Kat's just at the back of the pack, like question marks just popping off of her head, like, but he's only got 2 legs.
Yeah, she's just literally trying
Does
to.
now.
He's only got 1 leg.
Maybe.
There you go.
He hasn't got a tail. I don't
Then, like, at
understand.
some point, like, in, like, 3 episodes' time, she'll go, oh, it's a penis!
Just turn around. Oh, Mortar, that's disgusting.
There you go.
Just at some point in like this time.
Yeah, it's literally gonna come.
swiftly on. Protect my sweet summer child.
So, where are you headed?
I guess Glasson?
Do you know where Glasson
No.
is?
We haven't the foggiest idea.
We
I've
were
not been in this
following
region,
that
so I have no
path.
idea.
I think the plan was to hope for the best.
We don't know how far Glasson is. This could be like a couple of weeks' journey.
Worst comes to worst, we travel back to Ovok Row, find a map, or we ask people for directions. Maybe Ovok Row is the way to go initially, and then we can find our way from there. Then at least we know where Ovok Row is.
Notably, Ovok Grow is back the other direction if you want to go a road you've travelled before. Otherwise, you'll be going through unknown territory, going to somewhere you have no idea where it is in location to where you are.
Essentially, that's what I'm suggesting. I'm thinking that maybe we wait for Glasson and we just focus on trying to find a place where Harlan can recover, where we can all recover, and get directions.
Ovok Grow is
We
found
can-
down
we can
past the
chance
temple
it,
and past
we
the
don't, we
village.
don't know. Oh, never
So-
mind.
How far is it? Again, it'll be quite expensive. How far is it down the mountain? to the bottom of the mountain from where we are?
From where you are?
Over 1,000 feet, right?
Yeah.
How many people can Trellodex carry?
Probably one.
Oh.
Maybe two
Well,
at a
that was
stretch.
worth try.
Okay, well, all signs seem to be pointing us to brave the wilds then. Which we can do.
Yeah. From what information I got, there's 2 ways into Glasson. There's one that goes on a bit of a winding path, and one that goes through the mountains.
I'm probably not the most equipped to deal with mountains, but at least we're not right now. But
Well,
we can do that if
the
you think that's
mountains
going
where
to
we
get
are
there quicker.
currently.
We already got part of the way there.
You're partway up a mountain.
Assuming this is even the right way,
Okay.
this is supposed to be the dangerous one, but it is quicker.
Are we?
And we do have a road to follow.
Since we're already here, shall we just go for it? Just make sure that we're going slow. Last thing we want is to be caught by surprise.
Yeah. Right. We'll keep an eye out for any skeletons that may be hunting us. Bear in mind that given that we were waiting off the beaten path, they could be ahead of us by now.
Chris,
Mm-hmm.
the blood crystal I've got, I can use it as a substitute for material component.
Correct.
Can I use it as a substitute for material component for magic circle or teleportation circle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Guys, if it gets real hairy, real hairy, and we really need to get out of Dodge, I can teleport us to the Beastlands.
Oh,
How long does it take?
Well, I can't do it today because it's not. Yeah, I got the one in. What was it? Translord West? No. Yeah.
No.
The
Is
home
it-
world, home thing.
Soul's Respite.
if that's
I can teleport
if
to
that's the case, one
Soul's Respite. It takes a little while, but I haven't got the spell active at the moment because I didn't.
That's
Doubt
fine.
it.
But
You also
along
need a
tomorrow.
you also need a solid stone surface for that. If you go to Soul's Respite, as a note, you will be basically performing several months worth of journey because you'll be going from almost the furthest you can go south to the South Pole to very near the equator. You will be making up a lot
mean,
of time very quickly.
I mean, if we're thinking of doing that, why don't we have unfinished business in Zakers? Why would we go straight to the Beastlands?
This is just if it gets real desperate and we need to. That's literally the only. If we have no other option and we need to just get out of here ASAP. It's something I have at my disposal, but it's not something I want to do. Also, it's going to take us further away from Kirv's goose and basically knocking on my granddad's door. So, I'd rather not.
But it does get us closer to one individual who might be able to help you.
Guess what are we prioritizing then? Problems for the future or problems that are right in front of us right now?
It also has the joint benefit and downside of getting me closer to my siblings. Some of them are considerably more powerful than I am.
Yeah.
Or they
What
were
about-
when we last met. I don't know quite how we stack up now.
What about Zakers? I
obviously-
thought you left something behind there.
Zakers, I can't. The only way I can get to Zakers is the teleportation circle that we found in the the dungeon underneath it, but if we teleport to there, there's no way out. And I don't think your friend is ready to be slogging a dungeon.
I agree.
And I don't think
obviously,
he
if we're
is either.
planning on moving to the Beastlands, then we're going to be avoiding one thing for one of us. Kirv, how do you feel about this? You'd be straying away from your objective.
I mean, if that's... Are we saying that would be the last resort if we get into trouble?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If not, unless everyone wants to go,
Well, I'd rather live another day if that's our backup. But I'm thinking we get cover and help. We stack up on supplies. And if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to go and try and find that fucking goose.
And I understand, which I'm full
Alright.
support of.
You can't cast the spell today anyway.
I can't cast it today at all, no.
Right. Let's
Oh,
spend
there's
today
a
traveling
fly
then.
buzzing around you, Vinny. You should really deal with that fly.
Fly in this climate.
Damn thing's doing well in
Yes.
this blizzard.
At this time of year, localized in time.
Yeah,
They said, damn imp, it's back.
it's a dire fly. It's just, fighting the wind. You just
Well, either
hear,
it's a long way from home, or there's civilization nearby.
yeah, a dire fly. It's just 40 foot wide, just goes zooming past.
That's terrifying.
By the way, I don't suppose
imagine-
we can. I'd like to make a petition that Mortar just came back from the dead. I think could we make a petition to get him like something nice,
Yeah, life.
like a little hat or something?
I would say you guys have done more than enough, but you gave me a leg. You spent a shit ton on revivification, and the hardest part, you guys said something nice about him.
I will say I'm happy to drop everything and prioritize getting Mortar something nice, as long as the nice thing he wants is a snowman. Otherwise, we may have to wait.
Maybe a snowball thrown at him. I'm happy to do that. I'm good for a snowball fight.
Looks
But
aside,
yes,
we should
it's-
get cover. We
it's
need
a
to
good
get
idea.
cover.
That's
We
true.
need to get
Yeah.
cover.
Well,
And
yes.
if,
No
Tell you
matter
what,
what
tell you what.
happens.
make my gift making her okay, because I have everything I need. Nearly.
We're gonna make you a shirt that says, I'm gonna make you a shirt. It's gonna be made out of wood because that's what I can work with, and it's just
Oh,
going to say,
God.
"I died and all I got was this stupid shirt."
Nice.
And then put on the
Oh, wait.
bottom. I lost my leg for this.
Then on the back,
We're gonna-
I'm with stupid pointing at someone. Let's go. Let's
Right.
go.
Oh
We're wasting
no!
time.
But
Others can
a
come.
single short cheek, for your remaining leg. I know you've still got the rest of your ass, but it's just going to be the single cheek, and it just says, my gun is in my other leg, or something like that. One of those really terrible bumper stickers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're continuing your journey, who would like to go ahead and roll the first 2d10?
Not me.
I would love to.
Go for
Go
it.
for it.
You go for it.
Makes me next.
If that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Go for it.
Dude,
It's
you're
best
allowed
that you
to.
roll now while we're all ingratiated to you, because you just came back to life. If you roll badly,
That's very true. That's very true. I'll do this while I have everyone's blessing. That is 12 total.
Okay. Okay. Your day goes by relatively smoothly. The weather clearing up just a little bit. Not enough to necessarily warrant a sudden shift or change in scenery, but enough to help, shall we say, with the travel a bit more. You are continuing to keep a watch and an eye out for the day, but don't see anything or anyone untoward or suspicious. You travel up the rest of the way up the mountain with Terador's help, doing your best and being careful with the slippery steps, being careful with the heavy wind, taking it a little bit slow due to Mortar and Kirv and Cat's condition. Or Carvern's condition, sorry, not Kirv's.
Yes. Speaking
I'm
of,
doing
I assume
alright.
I've
So say Kirv's doing fine.
rebundled.
Yep.
Yeah, Carven's got 2 layers of winter clothing. Try and rebundle her as well with the heat stones.
Yep. Yeah. She seems to be doing okay, being carried in this fashion. It's not necessarily the smoothest ride, but then again, what will be? It'll either be one of you lot carrying her, or Terador, and Terador can glide to a certain extent to keep her level. As you're travelling up these steps, you get about halfway through the day, and you look out and you can see that the wind has otherwise calmed a bit. There is still a little bit of snow, but your vision is now returning more prominently as you can look out across the horizons a bit more. As you reach the top of the stairway, you can see that the mountain does climb up a little bit further as you are moving not necessarily to the peak of it, but to near a line of the edge of it. And as you look out across the horizon, you can see mountains to your left and your right with this massive ravine or valley that runs in and through and in between the mountains. And if you were to head down into it, you can see that there are pine trees and forests that run around the interior of what looks to be this almost spiral-shaped mountain with a massive peak what looks to be about 2 to 3 days worth of travel away in the center. And as you look over and up towards it, you can just about make out the vision of a city on the top of it.
I mean, result.
It's going to be a climb.
So
Okay,
far
gotcha.
away.
You see anything
mean-
closer?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
I'm seeing double right now. Alright. How long have we been walking?
About half the day. And at the moment you're standing at basically the top of the stairway. So from here you have a little bit of a choice. You can see that the mountains otherwise don't seem to connect to this central mountain from this viewpoint. They seem to continue round, almost like the edge of a basin, almost. I'll say, Kat, go ahead and roll me a history check because it makes sense for you to potentially know something like this.
Okay. That's +8.
+8, 15. I'd say you've never been this far south, but you do know that there are some major mountain ranges, and you know the names of those mountain ranges. You know that the largest one, known as the Frostven Peaks, or the Fronvale Peaks, sorry, are some of the largest ones, but you've gone in the wrong direction for those. The other one that is probably the most prominently known is known as the Spiral Mountains, significantly known for its spiral-like structure. And as you're looking at this, you gather that you're probably on the Spiral Mountains themselves, and if you were to follow them round, you would eventually reach the base of that main central mountain that leads up to the city beyond.
Okay.
You
So,
gather with the
we-
survival of your party, you could head along the edge of the mountains, being able to keep a constant and good lookout and eye for everything around you, as well as potentially being able to get to that central mountain a bit easier. But you also know you would also be out in the open. Meanwhile, the forests below would give more cover from the potential cold air, but would also potentially be a more dangerous spot for surprise attacks from whatever creatures may lurk in this particular region.
Well, we have 2 options. Follow this round to the mountain. We can see what's coming, but we're very exposed here to the elements. Or go down there, just into the woods. it's protected from the elements, but I don't know what creatures or what exists down there, and
We can't afford to chance. We can't afford to chance Harlan getting injured and killed. Not after everything we've been through.
mm-mm.
Stick to the top of the mountains for now. I'd rather not go down into a place where I don't know how many creatures there are trying to kill me. Again.
Understandably.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Don't forget there are creatures that stalk the mountains as well, just
Yeah.
less.
You'll be more exposed up here, potentially easier to track, and it'll also potentially, in this situation, if you were to follow the mountains all the way around, you'd probably be doubling your journey time to Glasson. Because you'd be travelling on the outer ring as opposed to the inner ring.
Do we have an estimate of how long that will be?
From here, if you were to go through the forest, provided you don't meet any hiccups along the way, 4 or 5 days of travel, including climbing the mountain to Glasson. If you were to take the outside, going around the edge, probably 12 days.
Holy crap! I've got caught in 3 weeks.
Oh, we literally do not have an option. We need to go through the forest.
Okay.
Like, because if
Yeah.
It won't be of much use to you guys. I don't have a weapon. Oh, I do, just... Anybody have something a little heftier than one of these? I kind of show my dagger.
No.
we've not got much to work with out here, but here you go. I hand over my hand axes.
Use strength.
Oh,
Do they use
if you want
strength?
something a bit
Hand
more,
axes do, yeah.
if you want something a
Oh,
bit more
shit.
elegant, you can borrow this. And I'll hand over my enhanced scimitar.
That's the way. Mortar's not proficient with that, I don't believe.
Oh god.
Ah,
So Mortar will kind of hold it. He'll go, "It's a beautiful weapon, but I don't belong in my hands." I'll hand it back and say thanks. But, guess I'll just take my chances.
well, do you know what you can use?
Daggers, firearms, I guess, or at least firearm. You know what? Forget I said anything. I was stupid. I'll just use what I have.
Well, my mum said that in a pickle, use your teeth.
Yeah. My mum's a smart lady.
They'd be effective now. Although it comes with consequences.
Okay.
Right.
If you need it, I have a dagger as well. But
If we're able to like settle down anywhere, I could probably make something that would work for you. But we'd need to spend the time to make a somewhat functional forge. Not
That
for
would-
much, just for a couple little bits and pieces. But it would. But that would not be easy.
It would not be easy, and that would add a lot
I'm
of
doing
time
that.
to it.
Yeah, time doing that would be
Cool.
wasted.
Can you use a bow?
I don't know. I would have thought that would be a weapon Mortar is proficient with, but let me just check.
Weapons you are proficient with are simple weapons, staves, hand crossbows, light crossbows, war picks, and firearms.
So yeah,
Okay.
none of the stuff that we really have.
And
Right.
It's okay. Thanks for the offer,
Chris, with my wood carvers and with the spider silk thread that I have, do you think I might be able to make a functional crossbow?
Probably not. Crossbows have a very heavy poundage. To make something like that, you'd need specific tools, a specific workbench, and you'd need to spend a lot of time working at oiling and sanding and chipping away at something. This would be a project
Yeah.
that could take several days, let alone the potential weeks it could take to find the right materials up here.
Don't.
I don't want to. I don't want to do it, but I can. I'll. It kind of looks at Cat. I'll knock at the door and see if something happens.
You can only try.
I came back to life. I came back to life. Shows miracles can happen if you're surrounded by the right people.
Are you going to do that now?
Nah. I'll wait until we rest. We can't waste any time.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going down then. Into the woods.
Seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You press on.
It's faster.
Also, I'm very, very hesitant to do this.
It's the faster journey,
does.
so if we try and make it even faster, we'll be there soonish. Minimize our exposure to danger.
Just stay by me,
Romulus, if it
Mortar,
comes
okay?
to it, I have
Right.
I have a short bow on hand. Maybe you could adapt that. Would that speed things up at all?
I have used, but it was a long time ago. I could give it a try. Better range anyway.
The
so
poundage,
maybe
the poundage between a short bow and a crossbow is unfortunately quite hefty.
Yeah, but it's a lot less
Yeah,
between a
so-
light crossbow and a short bow than it is between a heavy crossbow and a short bow.
This is true.
Maybe Mortar
It would
maybe
still
Mortar
take
picks up,
days
tests
or
the
two.
string. I'll give. I mean, Mortar doesn't have many options, so he'll take the bow because a ranged option he would prefer. In this circumstance, but if I'm not proficient with it, then I'll just roll without proficiency. So that's fine.
Okay.
Mortar in character would prefer a ranged weapon,
Yeah.
and if this
To
is
note.
the one on hand, he will take it.
Just to note, that bow doesn't have a string currently.
It's a glorified
Luckily-
stick.
Luckily,
It
I
was
do
only
in
because
fact
Romulus
have some
mentioned
appropriate
the
thread.
silk. Alternatively, you can attune to my Quicksilver one.
I mean, if push comes to shove, I can provide horsehair to, make a bowstring.
Do you know that's so much funnier? Let's do that.
Go for the natural colour hairs, not the black ones. I don't know if there'll be consequences to that.
Mortar kind of takes the bow, not initially realizing it doesn't have a string, and then you say it doesn't have a string, and he looks like he's kind of like, oh yeah, maybe I'll be of some use, and then he looks at it and goes, oh, all right, I'll hand it back, and I'll just say, let's just go. Come on.
Let's go die in the forest.
I think that what I'll be doing is, if there are any appropriate saplings that we approach in the forest, I'm going to be whittling some makeshift javelins. I believe javelins use dexterity still.
Nope. I believe
Okay.
javelins.
Is there a throwing stick weapon?
Daggers.
daggers, which is what he's got.
Yeah, daggers.
So I have a ranged weapon, but they're not going to be great.
You might be able to craft some darts.
Darts will be a difficult one, just because they are
Well,
quite a fine
well, these-
material to make.
These, as we're kind of approaching the forest, Mortar will kind of draw one of the daggers, and he'll launch it at a tree, and as it hits the tree and sticks there for a minute, it reappears in his sheath and says, if I have this, I more or less have unlimited ammo, but my aim isn't the greatest. I've relied on Black Scorpion for a long time, so I've got rusty with these things. Either way,
Okay, well, we're gonna try and keep you out
Either
of the
way.
main line of fire anyway, but if you have our back with anything,
I'll
I'd still feel safer.
Kirv said that she wants me to stay by her, but based on this new look, I think you're probably better suited up front.
You can stay with me. I don't really go up front.
Well, I'm pretty good at intercepting.
Ah, I see. Yeah, it's I will follow whatever plan people think.
Okay. The party begins to head down the mountain. You don't quite reach the wooded area, and despite it being a downhill journey, you still have to be fairly careful. The wind isn't calm today, but it isn't bustling you and throwing you around. So, by all means, you travel down the mountain. As you begin to get closer to the edge of the forest, you take a moment and spot what looks to be a decent place to camp for the rest of the night. As you settle down, a Learman's tiny hut being put in place, the wind and kind of gentle snow disappearing as the hut forms in and around the rest of the party. A number of you begin to nestle down. Mark one ration off of your inventories, everyone. And I assume either Romulus you're doing this or Vinny you're doing this, marking an extra ration for Carvern.
I'll take the hit this time.
Okay.
Okay, because you used your ingredients the previous day, so that's fine. Okay. You begin to take your watches for the night, and I think Mortar. We'll say as everybody is nestling down to sleep, well, I'll put you on first watch just for the simple nature of this.
Okay.
And would anybody be joining Mortar on first watch? I assume Romulus, you're on the last
I'm
watch
happy
for
to.
food. Okay.
Also, I welcome the company. As kind of he goes to kind of go and watch, he seems very
He's exhausted.
scared.
isn't he?
Yeah,
You know.
no, that's a good point. Both you and Kat are exhausted. You're not able to take a watch. My apologies.
Oh,
So before you head to bed,
Okay.
as you're otherwise there, you mentioned you were going to knock at the door.
Yeah. Very mixed emotions as he stands in front of it. There's a lot of anger, like, you know, there's a lot of rage there, which he's been keeping to himself. There's a lot of just a lot of raw emotion directed at the other side of this door, and who he knows had the power to change that encounter for the better and chose not to do anything.
Okay.
And he's not going to knock. He's going to shout Snap's name and demand he comes out.
Okay. As you're kind of lying down, drifting off to sleep, you reach out tentatively with whatever presence you may have within your mind for this moment. You reach out to this door. You shout Snap's name. You try to invoke some form of response from this creature that has been dwelling. And as you yell that name, you otherwise hear the door begin to open. Not fully. Not open like you managed to before, where you swapped places with Snap. But you otherwise note the door does begin to open and stops, as standing between the gap between the doors is the flayed figure.
No, not Snap.
Not Snap.
What are you doing here?
You watch as a hand is pulled out, and you watch as it twists its palm, and in that moment it grasps hold, and you watch as Black Scorpion forms within its hand, and it tosses it at your feet.
I kind of looks at it.
You look down and you note that
True.
you still have your other leg in this moment, and as you look, you watch as the creature points, and you watch as your leg begins to disappear, torn away. The skin, then the muscle, then the bone. And as it's torn away, you watch as the blood is streaming from it, the pain running through you, not to an agonizing scream, but to enough that you feel it but can't embrace that pain, as it seems to be being taken by this creature. I brought it back. The price has been paid. And you watch as it turns and begins to stride back through the doorway.
The price, my death.
No,
Do you enjoy that little scene?
just your leg. As it steps through the doorway, you watch as the doors begin to close. Do you wish to do anything?
Sarah's torn right now because he's learned a lot about Black Scorpion. I think, despite his conversation with the party just now about being defenseless and needing a weapon and his reliance on Black Scorpion, he is scared to pick that weapon back up. He feels a sense of almost clarity. This weapon's very bad. It's hurt people and it likes it. Just like this entity. Case in point with literally giving me my leg back for a moment or taking it away again. Some sick, twisted amusement. So I think Mortar knows he doesn't have a choice. It's going to say, my life. He's going to place a foot at the door so it can't close, and he's going to say, ever since I met you, my life has been suffering. Before you, my life has been suffering. I've seen something after you. That's what brought me back from the dead. Not you. Not your twisted taste for pain and suffering. Just know that this door, it's not a two-way street for you to invite yourself into my mind and my heart. From this day forward, this is a cage for you inside my mind. I will use this weapon, not out of choice, out of survival, because I need to. I have a friend. You've probably seen her. She endures more pain than I ever could in 1,000 lifetimes. She has the strength to keep going. One day I wish I could become half the person she is. Thanks to you, I need this. Thanks for nothing. I'll pick up the gun, and I'll let my foot leave the door, and I'll wait if there is a response.
The creature turns back. Just remember what I freed you from. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. The door closes, and you pick up the gun, and as you hold the gun in place, you see standing, you look down at the gun, you note the look of it, it's the same as the day you found it. And as you go to try and invoke the other forms, you watch as it begins to split. You hold it there and you watch as from it a pool of shadow almost pulls free, and you see standing there you with a smug grin and a look down upon you as Snap looks at you. And then you watch as from one of the other forms You watch as another pool of shadow pulls free and stands off to one corner, crouched down, just squatting on the ground, arms on prosthetic legs, just looking at you from behind a hooded figure.
I know you. It's a snap.
Huh.
You gave me everything, and then took something. I don't know you, and points to the figure with the prosthetic legs. You just all inviting yourselves into my head now?
Snap takes a step forward, reach down and picks up the gun from your hand. Do you resist?
No, I don't.
Takes the gun.
I want him to take it from me.
He picks it up, spins it around, almost with very accurate precision and change, before looking back at you. Did you ever consider that you might have been the one who invited yourself into our mind? That you weren't the first?
I was the boy. I was the boy who was flayed. I had a life before you.
Did you, though? Can you honestly say you remember all of it? Can you honestly tell me that?
Mind may not remember. My body does. The scars I bear are real.
Your
The
body?
wounds in my heart are real.
Your body.
Mortar grabs Snap by the lapel, the same outfit Mortar is wearing, grabs it and screams into his face, "Don't fuck with me! When I called for you, you weren't there. So what, you saved me once. You bring me back from the brink of death once. And then you let me die. And then I come back and you're still fucking here. You owe me an explanation, and I swear, if you use any more of your word games, he can't bring himself to come up with a threat which he himself would find scary. Staring into the face of who he's wanted to be, who he's aspired to be, this cocky persona of this untouchable character, this fiction. And he's just grabbing him and screaming at a reality which he knows he will never achieve, because he's still a scared little boy tied to a post in the middle of a desert while being flayed by his captors. He knows that, and he hates it, and he hates himself. He doesn't know why he's here anymore. He doesn't know why he's alive. And if anything now, he wishes he was dead. He wishes that he had never come back initially, that Snap had just let him die, because he's realizing now that he is a pawn. He is a pawn in some game. He has no capacity to understand, and he feels that cold, creeping sense that he felt when he was dead, of the loneliness and just the void all around him. No one to help, just him alone. He's scared, and I think he releases Snap, and trembling, he falls to his knees and begins to weep, just going, "What did I do to deserve this? Just let me die. Just kill me. You have the meat, you have the gun. Set me free."
You hear heavy metallic footsteps as the individual with the double prosthetic legs walks over, and you watch as they throw a hood back, or you hear as they throw a hood back, but with your eyes tiered and looking down, You can't see their visage, but you recognize their voice. Because you are one of mine, and you failed to follow my rule. And you look up with
Mortar
panic,
freezes.
and you
Yeah.
see your father.
Yeah.
And in that moment, staring into those dead eyes, you feel almost this trembling motion. And what was once a blank, dark planescape before you suddenly shifts into the otherwise teeming sands, the great ziggurats of your homeland, storm clouds overhead, and the great ascendants flowing around. As your father stands there at the base of his throne, looking down at you, weeping, bowed over. And in that moment, you feel almost this repulsion, this repelling of something. As a hand is placed upon your shoulder, and you feel all of this taken. The two forms snap, and your father get torn away in this moment. And you turn to see that flayed figure standing there, a menacing grin upon its face. You see now why I chose you, and why
Mortar.
I take what I can.
Mortar buries his hands, his fingers so deep into the side of his head it draws blood as he screams and he cries and he is in his own worst hell.
There is no pain.
He
No pain to take it away.
keeps scratching.
And you do.
He wants to feel something. He wants to wake himself up. He's trying to do anything he can to wake himself up, and he screams at this and he screams at this figure. I don't understand. I don't want to understand. What could you possibly want with me? I'm an accident. Nothing. I don't think that you can make me into something because I lost that right long ago.
When? Is a diamond not beautiful because it has flaws? Is a gemstone uncut worth less than the cut version of itself? All it takes is the right hand to shape it. I'm not saying I'm that hand, but you have a choice. There are many aspects of you, and as it waves its hand in front, you can see hundreds and thousands of reflections of yourself. Some you recognize. The boy, flayed, and another version, the boy dead, hanging on the post. You see Snap standing there, and you see Snap helping your friends. You see your father standing regally, and you see him knelt down in subservience. You see hundreds, thousands of more realities of opposing natures. One good, one bad. Some grey, others blurred. You shape you.
Mortar, upon seeing all of these reflections and hearing you shape you, looks for the one future in which he stands with his friends and can honestly just smile, just knowing that everything's going to be okay. Looks for that one reality. Looks for, and I think something he felt, even in the void. It was brief, but it was there. He felt a hand holding his. I think he searches for that warmth as he looks for Kirv, he looks for Vinny, he looks for Romulus, he looks for Cat. And he realizes how empty he truly is without his friends, and how pathetic he really is without people around him to make him stronger and to make him into a functioning person. He looks for the comfort in that as he goes.
As you search the horizon for that possibility, that version of you that you seek, you can't see it. You can't see friends, you can't see those that you trust. And as you're looking around, you begin to panic more and more. You see versions of you that you hate, lonely versions, none smiling, none enjoying life. And then finally you feel a hand at the back of your head push you forward. And as you go down onto your knees, your hands against the floor, you see your reflection looking back at you. You see claw marks against the side of your head, flayed skin in places where you have dug at your own face. But you see almost a grin of appreciation. You feel that warmth within the water at your feet, the reflection of you. And as the flayed creature is otherwise standing there looking over your shoulder, you feel almost this sense of hatred towards it. It's done this to you. It's tortured you. It's brought you all this pain, and yet it's taken it away. And you can't help feel a bittersweet nature to this, but left with so many more questions than you have answers. And as you're thinking this, and as you're almost prepared to stand, your hands are stuck to the water, and you begin to feel yourself sink. As you disappear into the water, you wake during the middle of the night with Vinny on watch as you kind of jolt awake in that moment.
Mortar sits bolt upright and openly weeps.
It's the middle of the night, and Vinny, you see this.
Immediately weeps, grabbing the side of his head, and cries as genuinely as anybody can cry. He is tears running shamelessly down his face. He curls up into a ball and begins to shudder as he just goes, "Why won't you leave me alone? Just let me fucking die. Let me rest."
Vinny, who has, up until this point, been distracted and taking his watch by flicking his gaze over to Carver at every opportunity, he's going to immediately run over and try and pull him into a hug.
Mortar immediately gives. He leans into the body heat, and he is holding you so tightly. He's like a terrified child, and he grabs you, and he just goes, "Don't leave me, please don't leave me."
Hey, I'm not going anywhere.
And as the two of them, Vinny and Mortar, hold one another in comfort for whatever Mortar has experienced this night, that is where we will end our session for tonight. So, for the stream, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And we will see you next week, everyone.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
And we will see you next week.
Assuming,
Yeah.
Night all.
assuming Zelda hasn't completely absorbed my life.
Yeah. That's fair. Bye all.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.